morning. I swear a lot.
Hello friends, and welcome to the Limbus Company Canto 7 tier list, where we rate the sinners based on their performance throughout this canto, and also throughout the story in general, kind of mix the two together. Now, I gotta be completely honest with you, as time has gone on, this has become a much less objective rating and has more come down to my personal feelings, so that's going to play a factor, I think, and always will do, and I'm just acknowledging it now. It's also going to be a massive dopamine hit today because we've got stuff to claim and we've got some extractions to do. Now, I know the Wally Purg, right, is coming round soon, and I should save some lunacy for that, and indeed I will, but I want to spend some today because I've gone an entire canto without spending any lunacy at all. No new extractions, no new IDs. I want to see some of the new stuff. Preferably something from Canto 7. I want to see some of these Blood Fiend IDs, right? But whether or not that happens, we'll find out when we get there. And we won't be spending it all today. But first things first. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get a teeny tiny dopamine hit to begin with, yes? And we'll just claim.
당신도 꽂혀보세요. 누군가에게 저주받는 기분이 어떤 것인지.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's interesting because Sinclair isn't really a member of my purple team, but surely this would be perfect for the purple team, yes? It's Hexnail. Hexnail is like Envy incarnate. Let's have a quick look, shall we? No, that's the wrong button. I'm very smart. Hexnail. It uses, okay, it uses Pride, Envy, and Lust. How much are we doing for Lust in this team? None of the purple members. Ah, I see. Not sure it would work particularly well then. That's a shame, but still, possibilities, perhaps. I'll have a quick look. It does Curse. Ah, this one isn't even, necessarily Envy pilled. It's leaning into Curse instead. Okay, that's fine. The fact that it leans into Curse and Nails means this is probably really good for N-Corp, actually. Which just so happens to be the identity I'm using for this team. Though the funny thing is, the One Who Shall Grip is entirely unnecessary to make use of this ID, other than the fact that it provides the Lust resources, because this version of Sinclair does not appear to inflict nails. Nope, does nothing for nails, not a single fucking thing. Although I haven't upped High Forward. I can't believe I haven't upped High Forward fucking this. I'm actually shocked. Why have I not done this yet? Okay, but interesting. Alright, well, that's one new thing. We'll do the rest later. For now, the tier lists. Friends, welcome back to the Sinner tier list for Canto 7. So, there's a lot to go through. Or there simultaneously is and isn't, because people had moments, but I wouldn't say there was anything particularly insane this canto, like in terms of individual character moments, other than the obvious one, you know, Don Quixote, which we'll get to later. But there's still stuff to talk about, at least. I like talking about the sinners, so I might be just saying stuff that isn't even new or news or anything different, but it's just like, yeah, I like these guys, so I just like talking about them, and that'll pretty much be the summary of it, but we can roll with that. I think that can be fine. I think this can just be a nice, relaxed, more of a podcasty video, really, where we just chill out and talk about the game. But let's at least get started so you guys aren't sat around for too long. We'll start with Dante, because they're on the far left. We're going to do Don Quixote last, obviously, because it's her canto. But Dante's S tier, and no one's surprised by that. Dante, to be fair, they unlocked a new power this time around, which is sick. The ability to use any ego attack without needing the resources for it is clutch as fuck. If you ever need Fluid Sac, there it is. You can just have it, which is pretty amazing. But the power and the use of it and the utility of it in of itself is not actually that important here. What's important here is the fact that Dante got a new power and did the thing and, you know, allowed Don Quixote to use La Sangre de Sancho. You know, Dante was the manager. They did the thing that they did. They had to juggle the whole, you know, lie by omission act. About Don Quixote's original, not original identity, but just identity in general, who she actually is. They had to keep that up with Faust, which was tricky, and I like Dante more and more every canto, because I really feel like they're coming into their own as a manager, but the story hasn't felt the need to make them flawless at it, or to just suddenly be amazing at it. Suddenly they are the ideal manager. In fact, I feel like they more frequently embrace the fact that Dante isn't very good at what they do, purely because, you know, amnesia, they remember nothing before Limbus Company started, so for all intents and purposes, they haven't got a lot of life experience. But what they do is they have Dante be not necessarily competent, but use the most powerful tool that you can use to get through to most people, not anyone, but most people. And that's sincerity. Dante is sincere, which I think just kinda, that sells it 100%. Dante is just sincere. When they're trying to reach through to a sinner, it's not because they're trying to do their job, it's because they want to help them. They genuinely want to help them, and that is key. Both, I feel, to the likability of the character, and also to their success when attempting to reach through to each sinner regarding their specific issues. They're still not perfect at it, right? Like, there are problems with Rhodia right now, and she's absolutely shutting Dante out at the moment. Not willing to talk about that. But by the same token, Sinclair clearly appreciates Dante's sincerity. And, like, throughout this canto, for instance, Sinclair would talk to Dante quite a lot about what was going on. And then when Sinclair went to take the lead towards the end of the Sancho fight, Dante was like, yo, let him cook. He's got something. He's doing something right now. It's pretty good. Let Sinclair cook. I think that's a dynamic I quite like at the moment, is that there is obviously a lot more trust between Dante and the Sinners now, but especially trust between Dante and Sinclair. Also Dante and Faust since the Intervallo. Like that, Dante and Sinclair is not the only example of trust, but that feels like a particularly strong one. But admittedly, I'm wandering into territory where I could be talking about the other Sinners rather than Dante. I'm a big fan of Dante. I think they're great. I think they're fantastic. I love Clockhead. Clockhead is peak. Absolutely adore Clockhead. Next up is Sinclair, and last time Sinclair was C tier. I've got the old tier list on the left here so I can refer to it. I'm gonna bump Sinclair up to B. Sinclair is B tier now, and that's because Sinclair, honestly, is getting stuff done. Sinclair is involved in like 90% of conversations in Limbus, and granted, Sinclair isn't the funniest member, but they're not the least funny either. They're not the least effective. Sinclair is involved. Sinclair gets involved a lot. We're seeing a lot of growth and a lot of confidence from Sinclair since Canto 3, and it continues to grow and develop. Like I said before, Sinclair took a lot of the lead in a lot of the conversations and confrontations in this. The most primary, memorable one, of course, being that last-ditch attempt to reach out to Sancho and bring around. Like, Sinclair spearheaded that. Dante was trying, but was getting nowhere, because what can they do? That wasn't Dante's fault, but it was Sinclair who seemed to catch on to the correct method of reaching out to her. And he has some of my favorite IDs, and he's just really cool. I don't know, I really like Sinclair. I think he's great. He's kind of got that, I'm going to call them the Blue Man group, Demian, Fishboy, and Sanson, because I don't know what they're a faction, but I don't know what you'd call them. They probably have a name in literature, I just don't care. But Sinclair has a little bit of that Blue Man group stuff going, but he's grounded and more personal and more personally invested in what's going on, rather than Demian, who I was never particularly keen on because he just didn't seem... He's a bit too laissez-faire about everything. And Fishboy, I couldn't give less of a fuck. Honestly, I found Fishboy to be one of the least interesting characters we spoke to, which is a shame because he had the most... had the most interesting design. And of course, the origin story, I believe they were a part of Yi Sang's group. If I'm remembering that correctly, I think I am. But I remember, this is off topic, but we're chatting, so fuck it. Talking to Fishboy in Canto 5, Fishbowl Head, was the least interesting moment in Canto 5 for me. Because he just went on and fucking on. And I just didn't care. Like, there was nothing to him. He just wasn't interesting. At least have him at least Demian showed off a bit, Capping Chroma was a pretty big move. But Fishbowl just stood there and just like, bugger. Well, so yeah, my complaints about the Blue Man group aside, which is, I like, Sanson's in there now, so I actually like the Blue Man group a lot more. But Sinclair's got a bit of that whilst not actually suffering the faults of the Blue Man group. I like Sinclair a lot, and Sinclair kind of feels like, I don't necessarily think they're going in this direction, it's just kind of how it feels at the moment. Sinclair almost feels like a secondary protagonist. Now, technically, every Sinner is like a secondary protagonist, and that will definitely become more evident as we get through more cantos, right? And each become more important in their own way. But Sinclair, especially after Canto 7, maybe that was the purpose of Canto 7, it feels more front and center at the moment in terms of Sinners, in terms of them doing things and having their own experiences be relevant to the current story. He's not the only one. Definitely not the only one. But it feels a little bit more focused on Sinclair right now, which is not a bad thing, and it's why I put him up to B, because Yeah. Now, is he like, he's not peak, sadly. He can't be an A or S because he's not, you know, he's not Hongler, he's not Heathcliff, he's not Greg, right? Like, he's good, he's very good, but he lacks that stage presence that some of those other characters have. He's getting there, though. He's definitely getting there. He's having more moments, and we can all appreciate that. But we'll move on. Faust, I'm gonna pop you up to B tier. I love Faust now. I really like Faust now. Not because she really does much in terms of the story, although I will say, Murder on the Warp Express, big points for Faust. Massive points for Faust. Getting to see her cut off from, like, the Faust network was the best Faust we've ever seen. It was marvelous. She was a fantastic character during that time. We became to realize how good she is at bullshitting and evading questions. But we got to see more of the person in that shell, you know, like, up to this point, Faust was basically a robot, but now we're getting to see the person within that metal frame, not literally. Unless maybe she is a robot, that'd be pretty cool, but I fucking doubt it somehow. Sorry, this chair sucks, give me a minute. So yes, getting to see more of the woman behind the stone mask was very interesting and very enjoyable. Another part of this, and this is why I mentioned at the top of this video that more of my personal feelings are definitely coming to the forefront rather than objective, logical statements in regards to these rankings. And I'm also about to apply something that I said I wouldn't apply to a Sinner's ranking, but I feel like I have to. I love Faust's identities. Faust's identities are like my favorites. They are so fucking good. I adore Faust's identities. Of the ones I've got, Lobotomy, Ego, Regret, Seven Association, The One Who Grips, Butler. Like, these four are the only Faust identities I have really used, and they're four of my favorites in the whole game. I love Faust on the battlefield. She's so cool. She's so good. Even when she's not good, she's at least cool. There's a certain demeanor to her, a certain presence that she brings that I find really enjoyable. I'm breaking a lot of my own rules, but that's the advantage of having your own show. You can do whatever the fuck you want, so I will. I like Faust a lot now. Something about her character, something about who she is and how she fights. And I think they've improved Faust a lot by having her be like kind of an exposition dump, but not making her do it every 2 minutes. They've definitely spaced out a lot more now. Now, that's not really her fault or the writer's fault as such, because at the start of the game, Faust was the only character with whom it was logical to be an exposition dump, and, you know, back then, you may have to have assumed that your player has not played Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Ruina. Also, there are a lot of details about Limbus in of itself that they would need to establish, especially regarding Golden Bells, the company itself, Dante's role, Virgilius, all these kinds of things. And it only really made sense for Faust to be talking about that stuff, because Faust was the only employee other than Virgilius who was already a part of Limbus Company, you know, actually had seniority over the rest of the Sinners. Even Dante didn't know what the hell was going on. So Faust unfortunately had to be mis-exposition for like the first 2 or 3 cantos, and it negatively affected my perception of her character because she spent so much time doing exposition that she didn't have time to do any personality. But that's changing. And that's good. Next up is Greg, and this one I'm actually going to go less feelings, you know, less personal feelings and more logical, and I'm going to drop him back down to A tier. I love Gregor. If we were going by personal feelings, he would be an S tier. He would be an S tier. I would just keep him in S tier. In fact, I have done that for like 6 cantos. I've kept him in S tier because he's my favorite Sinner, because I love him, because he's great, and none of that has changed. He's my favorite Sinner. I love him. He's great. But he doesn't bring much to the table, at least not in the recent cantos. You know what I mean? He's there a bit. Don't get me wrong, him as Rocinante in the stage play was very funny, but was then immediately overshadowed by Heathcliff as the bear, I gotta be honest. But a lot of the time, Gregor just kind of... He doesn't lead a conversation, he also doesn't move a conversation forward, he often just offers a comment quietly uttered under his breath, and that's fine, that's his personality, that's totally cool, it's one of the things I like him for. That's all well and good, but if I'm to look at it objectively, which I am trying to do for this character as a complete polar opposite to how I just addressed Faust, he's not bringing much. He's not bringing much to the table in regards to scenes, which is a shame. I'm sure it will change over time, bearing in mind, you know, I have to make these assumptions based on the most recent Canto. So who knows? Maybe like a week or two from now, they'll surprise us with a new Intervallo where Gregor is the main character and it'll be the best thing ever, and then this video will have horribly aged. But I've got to be somewhat fair. Honestly, the fact that he's in A tier is me weighing in on that personally, being like, well, I love him so much, I just want him to be in a high rank. Realistically, I'd put him in B or C. If I was being objective, I'd put him in B or C, but I can't do that. I can't physically do that. I refuse to do it as well. I can only tell you that that's probably objectively where he should go. Because, you know, I've given Ryoshu shit for not doing much in scenes and not talking much, but she does more than Greg. So yeah, but all of that aside, my opinions on Gregor have not changed. I absolutely adore the guy. It's a shame he wasn't really part of the team this time. I'm hoping to change that for the next challenge or, you know, Intervallo, Refraction Railway, what have you. I want him a bit more front and center, and I reckon we probably will. Next up, Heathcliff, S tier. I don't think anyone's surprised by that, and I'm not going to talk about it for too long because of course I did. But yes, Heathcliff. Every time he's on screen, it's a good time. I think I've made this joke / reference before, but I'll make it again just in case any of you have forgotten or weren't there for it. But anytime Heathcliff is not on screen, we're all asking ourselves, where's Heathcliff? Now, not everyone, you know, some people probably don't get along with his character, and that's fine. I didn't get along with his character for the first... Hard to say for sure. I'm gonna err on the side of caution and say first 2 Cantos. I didn't like Heathcliff very much. Thought he was kind of a prick. Which is kind of the point of his character, to be honest, but he was a prick. Remember, I'm still not entirely pleased with when he brained Sinclair with his bat, because, like, don't get me wrong, it was a good scene. That was a good scene. Like, I'm not criticizing the scene itself, but in terms of the character, I was like, Sinclair's just a little guy. You didn't need to fucking smash him with your bat. But yeah, nowadays, Heathcliff would agree. And that's why he became one of my favorite characters, because he grew, because he evolved, because he changed, and became one of the highlights of Limbus Company. And even if you don't like Heathcliff that much personally, I think you would struggle to argue with the fact that he is now a highlight of Limbus Company. He is a highlight of narrative scenes. Not the highlight. I'm not saying he's the best, and although I did kind of say that, but that was more of my personal bias. But he's not the best, and he's not like, oh, this guy's doing all the story and all the jokes and he's the Mary Sue. He's just a very likable character who is often there to either... He's definitely there for a lot of the comedy, because he's good at that, but they also sneak him in now and then when it's like, hey, we need a little bit of an emotional scene, and it's like, well, it's a bit more impactful from Heathcliff because he's a very gruff and belligerent character. So to see a bit of softness from him tends to enhance the emotional level of a scene. Also, his IDs are fucking sick. You know, like, it's a space for itself. 7 Heathcliff remains one of my favorites. Fucking legend. Next up is Hong Le, A tier. Now, that's where he was before, and frankly, I think he sits there quite comfortably, especially after this Canto of all of the scenes with Zixun. It's just Hong Le being Hong Le. Hong Le doesn't even have to try to be charming or funny. There is no effort on Hong Le's part to be charming or funny or likable. He just is. He just is. He's just there being funny, charming, and likable. That's it. That's Hong Le. He's just there being great all the time. Everyone loves it. I love it. He's great. I haven't got many good IDs with him, which is sad. I definitely want more Hong Le IDs, but to be fair, K-Corp Hong Le is incredible. Everyone says that, oh, Le Hong Le? Oh, you should just keep him in passive, but in support. But I often fielded Le Hong Le on the front lines, and I found he did well. His ability to build up his own SP was very useful in some fights, and some of his attacks hit quite hard. But I would acknowledge that he's probably not one of the stronger Le identities, so fair enough. But I liked using Le Hong Le. I thought he was great. But overall, yeah, no, I don't have much to say about Hong Le, because this Canto, he really just continued being himself, or at least himself as we know him. Who knows, that might change in Canto 8. We don't know yet. Or in an Intervallo. But every time Hong Le says or does something, it's usually funny and charming. Sometimes it's sad. And they kind of sneak in a little bit. You know, those sad moments, they're not too blatant, they're not too... It's not the kind of thing where people would stand around and go, well, that was awkward when he says it. It's kind of smoothly woven into conversation where he'll say it and you're just like, yeah. And then you look and go, wait a minute. And then the conversation has already progressed. You know, you don't even have a chance to follow up on him when you're like, wait, what did you mean by that? It's like, too late. We've already changed topics. Dude's great. Love him. Ishmael remains in C-tier. She's fine. And that's really the beginning and ending of my opinions on Ishmael. She's fine. She's absolutely fine. Got no complaints. No real strong compliments either, so hence her position in C-tier. Though, to be fair, Ishmael has legitimately some of my favorite identities. Captain Ishmael ties with 7 Yi Sang for favorite identity position because Captain Ishmael fucking rules. Fucking rules. Captain Ishmael fucking rules. One of my favorite, literally, like I just said, like top 2 identities. One of them is Captain Ishmael because Captain Ishmael fucking rules. And, you know, LCCB and Le, she has some fantastic identities. I just kind of wish I liked the character a bit more. But I'm not faulting anyone for writing Ishmael the way she is. She is unapologetically Ishmael. You either like it, or you don't, or you're mid about it, and I'm mid about it. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the character, it just means I'm mid about it. But she's unapologetically Ishmael, especially now, post-Canto 5. And that, in of itself, is admirable, but unfortunately, doesn't give me any inclination to push her above C-tier. Merceau, I'm gonna drop him back down to B-tier. Don't get me wrong, I still love Merceau. In fact, I should point out for those of you who have never been here for a post-Canto tier list before, I love every sinner. I love every sinner. Just some more than others, and these are the reasons why. Now, I adore Merceau, 100%, but he had a funny moment in Time Killing Time. I can't remember him doing much in Murder on the Warp Express. Might just be bad memory, but I don't remember him doing much. And he did sweet fuck all in Canto 7. Now, this is the essence of Merceau's character, right? This is the essence of his contribution to the story, where he keeps his fucking mouth shut because he feels no need to say anything that has no value or bearing on the current situation. He doesn't really weigh in with opinions. He offers opinions in situations where he thinks his perspective might be valuable to allow Dante to make a decision, but other than that, he keeps his mouth shut. Sometimes this is played up for comedic value, sometimes he's just genuinely providing useful information. Now, I like this about Merceau because it means the scenes in which he contributes, and when he hits a home run, it's super impactful, right? He comes in and he just takes center stage with no effort, without even meaning to, and everyone's like, whoa. But the problem, of course, quote unquote, is that this means that if you were to put Merceau's overall story performance on like a graph, you know, with like with the curves and stuff, it's like up, down, it's not consistent. It's high highs and low lows where he's simply not doing anything for extended periods of time. Like Canto 6, he did the multitude tightened its hold and it was amazing. And that was super good and that was incredible. Such a big fucking moment in Canto 6. When he tied down, I think it was Earl King Heathcliff he did it to, or Wild Hunt Heathcliff, I can't remember which of the two, it doesn't matter. I think it was Earl King. Point is, when he did that, Chains of Others, it was amazing. But in Canto 7, he has a couple lines. Like, yeah, he weighed in on, trying to bring Sancho back over to our side, and that was fantastic. I'm glad he did that, because I was kind of expecting him to not do that. So, cool that he did. But I can't have him in A tier when he's not competing. He's not competing a lot of the time, which is a shame because I fucking love him. See, what we've got here is something of a statistical average to determine Merceau's place, right? When he's just not saying anything ever and just not a part of any kind of scene for extended periods of time, he goes down to C. When he starts to really get involved, he moves up to A or even S. The combination of that means I think he sits in B for now, because he has brilliant moments but nowhere near enough despite his identifying trait of keeping his mouth shut a lot of the time. That's great, but I would still like to see just a teeny bit more from him, just a little bit more, a couple more Merceau moments. None. My boy has not finished. Next up is Otis, and I'm going to put her back in S tier. I'm going to continue to keep her in S tier, but for a different reason perhaps than I've previously expressed, because I think Otis's character is going in an interesting direction. And the reason for this is not actually a comedic one. We actually haven't had a solid comedic scene with Otis for a long time. You know, like we kind of front-loaded her comedic elements in like Cantos 1, 2, and probably 3, where she was bootlicking for days, whilst also telling the other sinners to get fucked whenever they had any kind of objection to Dante's decisions, or really just in general, like it would almost be unprompted and she'd be like, shut up and like keep an eye out or whatever. You know, very hard-ass military leader. I feel, could be right, could be wrong, it's just my perspective on what I've seen so far, Otis's character is moving in a direction where she is a source of tension and pressure, especially on Dante, and especially now that the cat's out of the bag about Don Quixote, right? She's a character who often pushes for the more extreme solution to problems, usually destroying something, taking out. It's not the same as Heathcliff back in the day who was like, oh, let's just punch our way through everything. She's a little bit more tactical than that. She'd be like, look, if there's no need for a fight, let's not fight, but be ready. Like, you know, she would tell everyone to get ready in case this situation devolves. But nowadays, she definitely does lean more towards the idea of like, this is a problem, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Put it down before it's a problem. Literally put it down before it's a problem. And that adds a lot of pressure and tension to a lot of scenes, because you're watching these scenes sometimes and you're like, is Dante gonna stand up to Otis, basically? Because she is now the biggest source of pressure that Dante typically encounters whilst working with the sinners, in that she obviously has a history in leadership. Many people have surmised that she was probably a leading, not a leading figure, but like an officer in the Smoke War, for instance, probably on the side opposite of Gregor. She's quite used to leadership. She definitely has an aspect to her where on the one hand, she is absolutely subservient to the chain of command, unless she feels the chain of command is inadequate. We'll probably see a bit more of that in her Canto or as time goes on, but there was probably a culture within her immediate surroundings, whether it was during the Smoke War or during the Odyssey or whatever, where if a higher up wasn't bringing it, wasn't competing, you put them down and took their place, right? And I kind of get an aspect of that during a lot of her scenes with Dante, especially kind of towards the end of Canto 7 when we find out about Don Quixote, where Otis has never implied, even for a moment, even for a second, that she would attempt to replace Dante. And indeed, it would be foolish to do so, at least in a overt manner, in the case of like actually just killing Dante and taking their position. That would be ridiculous. That's stupid. She knows it. She's not an idiot. She knows that's not something to do. But I do feel like, and I feel like we've seen this for quite a while, I do feel like we see her step on Dante's toes a bit, where it's like she's basically giving orders for Dante, not on behalf of Dante. Like even in Canto 5, this was played as a bit of a joke, I'll grant you, but she immediately installed herself as captain of the bus boat. Now, she was still on the outside honoring the chain of command, which is like, well, yes, the manager's in charge, obviously, but it was another example of her kind of grabbing for power a little bit. Now, I don't think this stems from personal ambition. I think it stems from paranoia and concern that, like, where she's like, if I don't step up, we're all gonna die. If I don't take control of the situation and take command, because Dante can't do it. Dante's just a sweet little baby darling. They can't do it. I have to step up and do it. And I feel like that's where a lot of this kind of overstepping her bounds of authority is coming from. It's not even intentional necessarily. It's just moments where she feels like she has to do it. It's knee-jerk reactions. And I feel like a big part of her Canto, and indeed the time leading up to her Canto, will be Dante attempting to prove to Otis that, no, I can command this. And I think it will result in situations where Dante has to put their foot down more severely than we've seen so far. Some proper heated confrontation, as it were. But all of that is to say why I really like Otis at the moment is because she's throwing a little bit of pressure into scenes at the moment. She's adding a little bit of spice. It reminds us that, like, look, Dante's got a really good relationship with the sinners at the moment, but it's not perfect. Dante did a lot to earn the sinners' trust and prove to them that they're competent, but it's not perfect, and they haven't 100% proved it yet. Dante still makes mistakes, Dante is still inexperienced, like we said before. Dante is inexperienced but gets by on sincerity, and indeed, up to this point, this is how they've dealt with Otis, when Otis has doubted them. But there needs to be much like with Ishmael, where I would argue that Dante taking that harpoon to the shoulder was the definitive moment where Dante was like, I'm in charge, listen to me, right? Which then led to Ishmael getting bodied like 90 times defending Dante from Ricardo. I don't think she would have done that if Dante hadn't stepped in front to take that harpoon. Because I think she'd have been like, you know what, you're not worth it. But my point is that I feel like we're gonna get something like that with Otis, where it will come down to a highly charged moment where Dante will or won't, depending on which way the story wants to go at that particular moment, step up to put Otis in her place. I don't know, we'll see. But all of these potential outcomes and potential problems and this instability in the group, kind of caused by Otis, is why I like Otis a lot at the moment. She adds a lot of interesting things to the group dynamic. And on top of that little bit of projecting she did about Don Quixote's past and then referring to her own past, I found interesting. I'm very looking forward to seeing how that'll pay off. And it makes me wonder about Dante's past, because I'm willing to bet money that prior to Amnesia, Dante was a right fucker. I'm willing to bet that before everything that happened prior to Canto 1, in that forest, which led us to where we are now, before Dante became Clockhead, I'm betting they were a right fucking bastard. I'm betting they were I'm picturing it in my head, upper corp management, kind of making their own power play a right piece of shit. Or Nebulae, I don't know, but I can't conjecture about Nebulae. I know nothing about it. This is all just feelings I'm getting. But Otis enhances those feelings, and I like that a lot. It's why I want to keep her in S tier, because I think she's one of the most interesting members of the team at the moment. But that's just me. Rhodia, I'm going to keep in A. I love Rhodia. Absolutely love her. She is fantastic. She has a charming and jovial personality. Her IDs rule. Her serious moments have more impact because you just don't expect them from her. She's always got something to say. Her voice acting is great. I love her design. Rhodia's fantastic. Love Rhodia. And it's funny, when I first saw Rhodia in Canto 1, I was like, she looks remarkably boring. Because, I don't know, it's a very muted design that she has. There's nothing particularly crazy about it. I'd say the axe is the most prominent thing about her standard design. But over time, we've learned that, oh no, there's a lot to this character. Even after Canto 2 happened and she was like, I am absolutely not interested in resolving any of my personal issues whatsoever. All I want to do is win a game of poker and be like, all in, and then talk about that for like 4 cantos. But I like that about her personality. She's very self-centered. She wants to be special. I like it. I like her. She's great. I wouldn't put her up to S tier. I don't think other than when she knocks out Heathcliff, which was fucking hilarious, and like upped my love for her significantly because I love that she can throw a punch as well, like a really good one. I don't think she's S tier quality at this time, but she's definitely up there. She's a staple of the team. She's a foundation. You know what I mean? You've got characters like Heathcliff and Otis and Merceau who come in with their moments to like bring the whole mood up and have big moments. But then you've got characters like Rhodia and Sinclair who provide, and kind of Gregor sometimes actually, Gregor does this a little bit, who provide more of a foundation. They carry the conversations so that we can get to those scenes where something big happens. Ishmael does this too, a little bit. But Ishmael's very here or there, she's quite picky. Rhodia is almost always involved in almost every single conversation. She's in there all the time. And in my mind, I would say that Otis is like the face of Limbus Company by this point. A lot of people who aren't familiar with Limbus Company are familiar, at least visually, with Otis. I'd say Rhodia is the second face of Limbus Company. She represents it, which is worrying because she's not a professional. But I don't know, like I said, all of this is based on personal feelings. You might be like, what the fuck are you talking about, Foreman? Obviously Dante represents Limbus Company. That's fair enough, because anyone who had ever seen art of Limbus Company would see Dante. So yeah, fair enough. I just thought of that, and that's a very good point. But outside of Clockhead, it feels like Otis represents Limbus Company, and it also feels like Rhodia does in-universe. Otis does out of universe, out of lore. Rhodia kind of represents us in lore. That makes no fucking sense. Don't worry about it. She's an A tier, alright? I like her. She's cool. Ryoshu, I'm gonna keep you in... Well, actually, I'm gonna bump you up to C, because last time you were the one who annoyed me most. Because of her abysmal performance against the Chief Butler. But, yeah, she's fine. Ryoshu, I like her a lot, but I just want to see... I want to know more about her. That's what frustrates me the most about Ryoshu at the moment, is I just don't know enough about her. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's good that we don't know a lot about her because it's going to make finding out more about her engaging and exciting. Looking forward to it. But I can't put her too high based solely on potential character traits. Like, at least Otis has established herself a lot between now and then. And Rhodia has Rhodia, I get these names confused, I'm so sorry, I haven't slept properly in like a month. Ryoshu has established herself, but it's a muted personality. She has her moments, but they're very few and far between. Cutting off Hugo's hands was pretty fucking baller, though. I've never seen her just murder someone before. Other than another sinner, but that doesn't count because regeneration. I have no problems with Ryoshu. I'm just waiting for her to bring it, to really bring it, you know? I'm waiting for some big Ryoshu moments, which I know are coming, and it is necessary for us to have so many moments with Ryoshu that are muted and have her not be too front and center for a lot of it, so that when we do get those moments with her, they're going to be fucking brilliant. I can guarantee it. I feel it in my bones. It's going to be really good when we get some proper Ryoshu moments, right? And I mean proper ones, not like part of a scene where she cuts someone's hands off or chops down a chandelier. Very good scenes, but I just need a bit more from her, and I know it's coming, and I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that I get to bump her up at least one space, potentially two, when we start getting those scenes. This, at the end of the 10 years of Limbus, you want to know how this tier list is going to look? Everyone's going to be an S. I guarantee it. Everyone's going to be an S. It's just going to be an S tier cast. I don't know how the fuck I'll handle that, but that's then, this is now. I'm keeping Ryoshu here for now, but I like her a lot. So, we're down to the last two. Technically. I guess Vergilius is here as well, but that's not going to be a particularly interesting one. He didn't have a lot to say this Canto. The one who annoyed me the most was Don Quixote. I don't know what world you come from, Don Quixote, if that even is your real name, but having some kind of personal identity crisis, I'm using quotation marks with my fingers here, is no excuse to not come to work. We had to go through the entirety of the interior of La Mancha Land while you flutzed around talking with your dad, once again quotation marks with my fingers, and reconnecting with your siblings or whatever. Do you know how many ego resources we wasted even, while you were flouncing around having changed your name to try and get some time off work? Not acceptable. Not pleased. This shall be deducted from your pay. Big problems. No, no, no. Now, I feel like it's pretty obvious, but I will clarify because I feel like I should. I'm joking. This is a big joke. The one who annoyed me the most is a joke rate ranking, obviously, because Ryoshu was there last time. Really, it's a ranking that is provided either for someone who actually genuinely pissed me off. It's a shame we didn't really use it in Canto 5, because then it would have been Ishmael. Although she did bring it back, so I'm not sure I would have actually done that. I was someone who genuinely pissed me off, and to be blunt, no one in the cast pissed me off in Canto 7. I think they were all great. Or someone who fucked us around in combat too much. Now, there were a couple people who were nearly contenders, right? Like, Faust got bodied a few times, Heathcliff wasn't really bringing it sometimes, Gregor was pathetic because we were using his base ID. But I have to give the one who annoyed the most ranking to Don Quixote for missing almost the entirety of Chapter 3, of Act 3, of the dungeon. She missed like the whole thing, and then we had to fight her. And that was actively detrimental to Limbus Company's efforts to get that golden bow and make big cash. So, frankly, she's on probation. This is what happens. You can't have a character arc at work. You have your character arc at home. Have your character arc in your own time, but you show up to work ready to go. Yeah, fuck you. But, like, you know, ignoring that bit for a moment, I found Don Quixote to be extraordinary in this Canto. She was super fucking good, you know? It was difficult going into this Canto, I think, because Don Quixote has always been a very two-dimensional character, which has never necessarily been a bad thing. It's her strength. She was primarily a comedy character. Not literally a comedy character. Everyone here is going to have a tragic backstory, and everyone here is going to have depth to their character. I never went into this just assuming she had nothing to her but comedy. But she was primarily a comedy character up to this point, with Murder on the Warp Express starting to actually establish some of that backstory before we came into Canto 7. And I found that Canto 7 delivered that with aplomb, you know? She spent most of it being as she always is, and we got to see Sanson's efforts to probe at that origin of hers that she had willfully removed with the Rivers of Oblivion. Or not removed, but suppressed, you know. And you can see it starting to bother her more and more and more. And the fact that she didn't even think this was all about her, like she thought this canto was about Honglu, which is a fun detail. I like that sort of in-universe acknowledgement by the sinners, which we've seen for a couple cantos now, I think since like Canto 3 actually, maybe, where the sinners are like, will turn to one of them and go, oh, it's your turn. Oh, this is yours. And the sinner goes, oh, fuck, it's my turn. Oh, I'm not ready. Like, Ishmael actually played that one very well, in my opinion, you know, during her canto. But Don Quixote was blissfully unaware that this was her story, or if she was aware, she was doing everything she could to ignore that fact and trying to be like, oh, no, it's Honglu's. Look, his sister is here. Oh, yeah, clearly. Sancho is fantastic. I love Sancho. Sancho is super good. Sancho is super, super good. Every scene with Sancho was fantastic. She was super well done. The voice actor should be paid 3 times as much as they're being paid for what they did with Don Quixote and Sancho this canto, because frankly, it was bomb. It was absolute bomb. It was amazing. Super good. And she did the singing as well. Fucking amazing. Absolute bomb. Wonderful. Fantastic. Loved everything about Don Quixote this canto, to be completely honest with you. Super, super good. I am beyond interested to see where they go with Don Quixote from this canto onwards. I reckon, personally, I think they're going to lean a bit more in the direction of the original Don Quixote, where she's very jolly and has that kind of heroic, like, personality to her, you know, justice, honor, and all that crap. But I think she'll be a little bit less excitable. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, Don Quixote would be like screaming and shouting and scampering around and stuff. I think she'll still have some of that energy. I don't think it'll be quite so loud, though. She'll definitely be excited about things. She'll definitely be adhering to honor and justice and all that, but perhaps not so much screaming. I don't know. I'll be fine if she does. If she's like, this is the character I'm playing, literally, because that's how she's referred to it, or this is who I am, like this is who I've become, you know, however you want to perceive her current persona, as it were. If it's basically similar to how she was before Canto 7, that's fine. That is fine. I'll still be happy. But I'm hoping we're going to see a little more Sancho in there. I'm hoping we're going to see a bit more quote-unquote maturity, because I think it'll be a bit more interesting. It'll be less funny, and that'll be a downer, but I would like to see that development. The combination of Sancho and Don Quixote to create this new person who embraces that juvenile behavior that is the color of life, as her father put it, but she's a little bit more lucid, a little less like scatterbrained and all over the place and seemingly not in the real world. It only just occurs to me now how much it seemed like Don Quixote was basically living in a dream from Canto 1 to Canto 6. Like, they actually played that into her character quite well. She was just not really present for a lot of what was going on, despite being very present and actively affecting those scenes. And that's fine. If we're still doing that, that's totally okay. But I would like to see if we could have that kind of Sancho-Don Quixote combination. I think it'll be very difficult to write, so fucking good luck to them. But if they can pull it off, I think it'll be fucking amazing. But a character arc is no excuse to take time off work. The one who annoyed me the most, Don Quixote, D tier. Yi Sang. This is a difficult one. I'm gonna keep him in B. He's Yi Sang. He's strange, he's ideal. He didn't do a lot this canto, but he didn't do nothing this canto either. He provided his usual, I've said something that is something, but also nothing kind of stance. Also I found his words in attempting to bring Don Quixote back to our side be particularly sweet. Like, he was especially warm about it, I suppose. And like I've said before, I love how Yi Sang has grown from Canto 4 to now. I think it's fantastic. Also love his IDs, you know. 7 Yi Sang is my favorite, next to Captain Ishmael. And, I mean, I've got to be honest, I'm struggling to think of an ID of his that I've used that I didn't like. Like, they're all really good. Spice Bush is incredible, you know. The Blade Lineage identity is incredible. I don't think I've used many others, but... Oh yeah, Pekod. Pekod Yi Sang's pretty fucking good. Relentless stabbing for days, my guy. Super good. But I don't have a lot to say about Yi Sang here, because frankly, he didn't do a lot. He didn't do a lot in Canto 7, and that's okay. We've got 13 sinners here. They can't all be taking center stage all the time. We're going to have Cantos where some are more prevalent and some are less prevalent. I think I've said that before, saying it again now, and that's just the way of things. Finally, Vergilius armor popping back down to A tier. Simply because he had his big moment in Canto 6, which was fucking incredible, by the way. Still one of the hypest moments in the game to date. Although, you know, Canto 7 gives it a run for its money on a few occasions. Don Quixote himself was insanely cool, and, you know, Gallopon was pretty fucking amazing, but it's hard to beat Vergilius manifesting his ego, right? Super insane. Super insanely cool moment. And it's hard to top that. But he didn't do that in Canto 7, and I'm glad, actually. I'm glad. I didn't want Vergilius to just swoop in and take center stage for every single Canto. I think it would negatively affect his character. I think having this Canto for him to still be relevant, but kind of take a bit of a backseat once again, you know, ease off. He's probably hoping he can renegotiate that part of his contract that he might have lost for helping us in Canto 6. So he's like, I'm not going to get involved. I'm just going to step back. Also, he probably didn't feel he was necessary, and he was right. This is a Canto where it felt like the Sinners were more or less in control. Sanson definitely threw us for a loop, but other than that, this felt like something the Sinners could handle. So there was no reason for Vergilius to come flying in and save the day with that Gladius of his. But this doesn't represent any kind of diminishing of my opinion of Vergilius. It's simply that he just didn't do much this Canto, and that's totally fine. Like I said, other people have to take the spotlight every now and then. I've made a new tier, it's called Charon tier. And the reason I've made Charon tier is because I really like Charon. I think she's great, but she's not doing anything. She's not doing anything. Like, really. She's doing very little at the moment, even less than Vergilius, even less than Merceau, and it feels unfair to put her high up on the tier list than Sinners who are actually involved in scenes and getting a lot done, when she's doing very little. Now, I'm not expecting her to be doing much. She's the bus driver. Why the fuck would she be in La Mancha Land? Although there was actually a reason why she could have been in La Mancha Land, as we established with a conversation with Dante in that Canto, in fact, where we were like, oh, Charon, when we go to an amusement park, we'll take you on a fucking one of the rides or something, get some ice cream, whatever. And then we just kind of didn't do anything with that. Now, this isn't really me complaining, to be honest, because like I said, Charon is the bus driver, she should stay on the bus. This is why I'm giving her her own tier, so I'm not comparing her to everyone else when I talk about her, because it feels unfair to compare her to everyone else when I talk about her, because she has the least scenes by a country mile. And putting her in S, A, B, C, or the one who annoyed the most tier just doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair for the people below her, because I'm like, well, they've all contributed to scenes more than she has, and it doesn't feel fair for the people above her, because it's like, well, what did you expect? She's not been there. You know, there's no happy ending to that. So I gave her her own tier, where I can be like, Charon, you just keep driving that bus, ma'am, you're doing great. We all like Charon, she's probably the most prominent support character. But considering the support characters in this series don't often stick around for more than a Canto, that does mean that she is the most prominent support character by a country mile, but it also speaks to how little time a support character would get. To be fair, you could argue that Vergilius is a support character, and he's probably the most prominent. She'd be the second most prominent then. She does great in the scenes that she's here for, she's just not here very much. So I didn't think it was fair to put her in the standard array of tiers. But here you go, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Sinners Canto 7 tier list. I feel like this was relatively reasonable, but there are a lot of times where I've made a video and been like, yeah, I think people will be alright with this, and then it's gone up and people have been like, what the fuck do you call this? And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, you know, it's just my opinions. Tugging at my collar like, ooh. Yeah, I don't make these tier lists expecting y'all to agree. It's just me expressing my thoughts on these subjects, on these characters. I love them all a lot. It must be said. I said it near the start of this feature and I'll say it now. I love them all. There's no like, oh, I don't know, Ryoshu sure does suck. And it's like, no, I like Ryoshu. Like, even if it's not as much as, say, Heathcliff, I still like Ryoshu a lot. Let me put it to you this way as well. There is no sinner here, or indeed no character on this tier list, where I feel the story would survive from their removal. You know what I mean? There's no one here so insignificant. Not even Charon. Not even Charon. Or maybe survive is a strong word. Damaged by their removal, right? Limbus would be damaged by Charon's removal unless she died in some fashion that was appropriate. You know, a character dying is not the same as a character just being removed or not being there in the first place. All of these characters are necessary and likable. That's how I see them all. I like them all. They're all necessary for the story. If you were to be like, well, I feel like the story would be fine without, I don't know, we'll throw out a random one, Musso, I'd be like, no, it wouldn't be. But that's just me. That was the tier list. But now we move on, and this will be much shorter, to the Canto tier list. The tier list of Cantos. Welcome to the Canto tier list. Now, I know you're looking at the icons I'm using for these Cantos and being like, what the fuck do you call that? That is lazy as shit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I can't find images of, you know, the little Canto banner thingies online, and I'm not willing to make them because I'm not a fucking artist or graphic designer or anything like that. We're using numbers to do the different Cantos. Fucking cope. Okay? Okay, good. Right. We start with Canto 1. And also, I should explain before I begin. This tier list, I guess pretty similar to the Sinner tier list, and this might sound like a cop-out, but fuck you. This is genuinely how I feel. There is no shit tier, right? There is genuinely no shit tier. It's the best going down to good. Because the worst Canto is at least an enjoyable narrative experience, in my opinion. But we'll fire through these a little bit quicker because there's more prevalent points to get to within this list, and also we got other stuff to do today. So, Canto 1. I'm gonna put in good. Canto 1 is fine. Unfortunately, it is not a great first impression for Limbus Company, and I actually think this is Limbus Company's greatest weakness, is that Limbus Company does not make a good first impression. Now, if you've played Library of Ruina and Lobotomy Corporation, you don't fucking care. Case in point, me, right? When I first started playing this, I was like, this combat's fucking ridiculous. Like, what the hell's even going on with it? And like, oh, there's a shit ton of new characters that we need to try and get to know and establish and all that. Like, that's a bit of a chore. But I was already personally invested in the setting. So I was like, fuck it. I don't care. I'm gonna fucking push through. You know, I want to see what's going on. I love this setting and I want to know more. Don't get me wrong, I liked Canto 1. I'd say by the end of Canto 1, you've decided whether or not you want to stick with Limbus or not. And by the end of Canto 1, you've seen some of that really solid character interaction and storytelling and world and setting establishment that this game will provide and that this overall franchise provides. I don't think you even have to get that far into Canto 1 to be like, okay, I can see the appeal now. I can see where this game I can see where the joy of this game comes from. And then, of course, you would ask someone like, oh yeah, you know, Canto 1's a bit... I've started playing and it's a bit meh. And they'd be like, get to like Canto 2 or 3. I'd say probably 3 is where it actually starts to get good. I really like Canto 2, but I wouldn't say it's good, but we'll get there. Yeah, get there. Canto 1 is good later on, but it starts poorly. It must be said, it does start poorly. And that is, I think, one of Limbus Company's biggest weaknesses. Like I said, there is a streamer whom I followed whose name I shall not state for those of you who don't know who they are and might be upset and go express your upsetness at them, and I would prefer if you didn't do that because I like them. Who was like, yo, I started playing Limbus Company, like they did a toe dip into a bunch of different gachas, and it was like, I was playing Limbus Company, and nope, not feeling it. Not feeling it at all. Combat's a mess. I don't care about these characters. This intro is long and awful. And I'm like, each to their own, I suppose, you know, like, didn't gel with them, that's fine. But while it was fine for me, I enjoyed Canto 1, I can see it. I can see what they meant. I can see what they're saying, you know, where I'm like, yeah, Canto 1 starts quite weak. Maybe that's a minority opinion, maybe that's not generally how people feel, but I do see it where I'm like, Canto 1 could start a little stronger. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, what else are they supposed to do? They've got so much to establish early on with a combat system that's all over the place, right? That is now refined, but was not refined back then, if you know what I mean. But still, Canto 1's good. I like it. I like Canto 1. It's fun. Canto 2. This one definitely comes down to personal opinion, I feel, because it's a hard one. It's actually a very hard one for me to place Canto 2. Out of fairness, I'm going to put Canto 2 in very good, because me personally, I would consider putting it in great, but objectively it should probably be in good, so I'm going to split the difference, because Canto 2, I think, has some of the most enjoyable personality establishing moments of the series, almost. Canto 2, where they're like fucking around and just being an unruly band of idiots and like cracking jokes and getting into fights with gangs and fumbling the heist and doing the card game and all that. And all the while we're learning a little bit more about these characters in a slightly less I would say, awkward context, because in Canto 1, everyone's literally just met, and they're all very frosty with each other because they just don't fucking know each other. Whereas in Canto 2, they've begun to unwind a bit, and you start to see some of these true personalities come out. The problem with Canto 2, one of the biggest problems, there's actually three massive problems with Canto 2, technically. First of all, narrative's kind of garbage, because it's supposed to be about Rhodia's Canto, as it were, and we just don't really do anything with that, which I think will be better in the long run, because we're obviously looking to come back to that at some point. But for the purposes of Canto 2 in of itself, it's a bit lackluster, because it's like, well, what did we actually achieve here? Other than getting a golden bow, admittedly, we did do that, but in terms of resolving anything with Rhodia, no, not a fucking thing. Zero character progression for Rhodia during this Canto. None. Which, fair, it's early days, so they can't have a personality change too dramatically, but at the very least in Canto 1 with Gregor, it feels like by the end of it, because at the beginning he feels like an outcast, and this is exaggerated by Rhodia being like, oh my god, what's wrong with your arm? But by the end of it, he at least seems like he not necessarily belongs, not like this is his family, that's way too much of an exaggeration for the beginning of Canto 1, but he feels like he fits in amongst the sinners. And that's a bit of progress, Rhodia, zero progress. None. Not a fucking Scooby in her Canto. The second one, the dungeon is garbage. The dungeon is garbage. Now, there are some good moments in it, but the dungeon on the whole is pretty shit. Once again, early days, but this does once again tie into the problem of Limbus Company, where the first impressions are quite questionable. And you go from an alright, quite interesting dungeon, because I would say the Canto 1's dungeon is actually pretty fucking strong, especially when we get to the Smoke War bit, because that's really interesting, and Gregor absolutely kills it on the voice acting there. In Canto 2, the dungeon is very dungeon. It's not particularly interesting until the end, where the game goes, alright, we need to give you some story about Rhodia. Alright, just dump it all on. She murders a tax collector. And that gets everyone killed. Which is a good story beat, by the way. But it feels a bit top-loaded. Actually, not top-loaded. The opposite of top-loaded. It feels a bit back-loaded, where at the end they're like, alright, now here's everything. Here's everything. Here's everything. And we'll come back to that kind of point a little later on. But I would say that the last third of Canto 2 is its weakest point, by quite a considerable margin, which is a shame because that's when all the story comes in, but it is what it is. Finally, the final boss for Canto 2 is shit. Cool concept, like the castle is chasing us out, oh no, but it's shit. It plays like crap. Every time I encountered it in a mirror dungeon, I was like, oh, fucking hell. It's not fun at all. It's annoying. It's a shit fight, and if anyone's like, well, you clearly don't get it, well, then I don't get it, because that fight sucks. It's crap. The final boss of Canto 1 wasn't amazing, but it was at least decent. It was at least a proper boss fight with an enemy that felt worthy of the title, which is laughable once we, at later points where it's like, well, the final boss of Canto 1 was an abnormality, and it's like, well, we didn't have any other characters to play with by that point, It makes sense, but yeah, Canto 2's boss sucks. That final boss sucks. Awful. Terrible. But I really liked my time in Canto 2. I think it was Canto 2 which affirmed to me that, yeah, I think I'm going to really enjoy playing Limbus. I think I'm really going to enjoy going through this, because I'm having a great time. So, some personal bias perhaps, but that's why it stays in 2. Canto 3, I'm going to put in good. Honestly, I'd say Canto 3 was the hardest one for me to place, because Canto 3 is very Canto 3. I don't know, there's something about that Canto which is weird. It's just a very weird feeling Canto, and I don't know why. I would chalk it down to, by this point, Limbus is still kind of trying to decide what its Cantos are going to be like. We're still kind of playing with that concept. With, I think, Canto 4 being the last one where they're trying to figure out what this is all going to be like. But Canto 3 is good. It is. But it also has the most gaps in my memory. Despite not being the furthest back one I've played, I can remember a fair bit about Canto 1, and I can remember a fair bit about Canto 2. I don't remember quite so much about Canto 3. Now, I remember critical moments, like there was the, I believe it was Canto 3, which had the dust up with the checkpoint. with the K-Corp checkpoint. It's either 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure it's 3, because we're in K-Corp or K-Nest for both 3 and 4, aren't we? Yeah, so dust up at the checkpoint. Sinclair being like, I don't want to fucking go to the place, it can't be my turn yet, and then he gets knocked out. The utter destruction of Sinclair's hometown. Death of the one of the two that isn't the girl. I can't tell their names apart, it's been too long. But yeah, they die. Faceplate, who's fucking intimidating, and Chroma, of course, who is a deliciously evil villain. Fantastic. And the dungeon, which was actually pretty good. Until the end. The end is although, I don't know. I was about to say the end of Canto 3 is too heavily loaded with cutscenes, but that's not actually the problem, because Canto 7 and Canto 6 and Canto 5 all did this, and there's a lot of cutscenes in those ones. But it sucks. It kind of sucks to say this, because I get why it's the case, but Canto 3 has so much schoolboy adventures with Sinclair in it, and I just couldn't care less for like 90% of that. Now, I get why they did it. The scene had to be established, you know, the relationship with Chroma, the relationship with Demian, Sinclair's feelings around that time, his position in the world, like the mindset that would lead him to make the mistakes that he made that cost his family their life. All of that, and I get it, absolutely, but those fucking schoolboy cutscenes are the most dull shit ever. So fucking dull. So excruciatingly dull. So painfully dull. I was it was all I could do. I remember while I was recording it, it was all I could do to just keep pushing through those cutscenes. So I was like, there's gonna be something interesting soon, but if you go back and watch the finale of Canto 3, you'll probably notice that during those scenes, I don't make many comments, because I have nothing to say, because nothing interesting is happening at all. It is horrifically dull. Whereas in, say, Canto 6, I might not say anything during a cutscene because I'm like, this is a really interesting cutscene and a big emotional moment, and I feel like me weighing in would damage the scene, right? So I kind of try to shut up for some of them. Not always successfully, but you know, I try and pick and choose my moments sometimes. In Canto, at the end of Canto 3, it was me sat there bored to fucking tears. Absolutely bored to tears. Now, after those cutscenes, you know, the payoff is worth it. The big fight with Chroma is amazing, and Sinclair's big moments there and stuff, and all the N-Corp stuff is incredible. Like, it's all super good. But I found Canto 3 to definitely be the least memorable Canto for me, which is a shame because Sinclair is rapidly becoming one of my favorite characters. But hey, Rhodia had a terrible Canto in regards to her narrative, and she's also one of my favorites, so go figure. I'm not getting through these nearly as quickly as I expected. Let's move on. Canto 4, I'm going to put in great, because I really, really, really like Canto 4, but I do acknowledge its many failings. Or at least the big failing, right, which is the excessive amount of combat. Now, when I went through Canto 4, that excessive amount of combat was a good thing, because I'm pretty sure we were doing the Blade Lineage event during that time, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, I'm not sure. But yeah, we're doing the Blade Lineage event, which meant I was getting a shit ton of sheaths for doing Canto 4. A fuck ton. So I didn't care. On the other end of the spectrum, it was the first Canto where I was like, okay, we need to start skipping some of these fights. Like, I need to cut them in editing because this is going to take way too long. And we're getting nowhere, right? We're just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and there's no story and there's no boss fights. It's just robots, 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 robots. So fucking many. Occasionally fixes. It's just so many fights. A lot of those all faded in together, but the story, like, and there was admittedly quite a lot of like chatting in Canto 4 where it's just like, yes, K-Corp and K-Corp and K-Corp and K-Corp. I'm like, I don't care about K-Corp that much, alright? A surface explanation of your corp will suffice, or at least delving into the details a little bit. You know, like we did with which corp is it that's in Canto 7? I want to say P-Corp, but I might be wrong. But what we knew and / learned about P-Corp in Canto 7 was sufficient for me to understand the situation, especially in regards to La Mancha Land causing problems and why P-Corp would care. But K-Corp, it just went on and on and on. Dong Rang loves talking about his fucking work, on and on and on and on and on. Oh, so much. But yeah, I'd say Canto 4 is interesting because in regards to Canto 2 and 3, or at very least this actually applies more to Canto 2. You know, first 2 acts are incredible, third act sucks, kinda. with Canto 4, first 2 acts are the third act is amazing. The third act of Canto 4 is super good. That is where all the good shit happens. The reciting of the script, the revelations of what happened to the League of Nine. I think that's what they're called. I can't remember right now. Spice Bush, the reveal of the eyeball, Dongrang, the Dongrang boss fight, Fly Broken Wings, Yi-Sang's big moment, and then Yi-Sang becoming a warmer character. All of that is astoundingly good. Astoundingly good. Marvelously good. That is the little sprig of fucking herb that you put on top of the meal and then you go mwah, because it's fucking done and it's gorgeous. But there's a lot of rice on the plate, you know what I mean? And like, not flavored rice, just rice with no sauce. So yeah, I do acknowledge the many failings that Canto 4 has, but I really like Canto 4, like a lot. Like a lot. For my boy Yi-Sang and his big moments, which is funny actually, because of a lot of Canto 4, he doesn't say a fucking thing. But it's all worth it in my mind. It is all worth it. We move on. Canto 5. Canto 5's great. And I think you could probably surmise from this point that, like, Canto 5 onwards, they're either going to be great or best, because Cantos 5 through 7 are like masterworks, you know, like carefully crafted artisan pieces left to simmer for 20 million hours and brought to a mirror finish. Like, these are fucking marvelous fucking cantos. Like, some of the best shit you'll see in Project Moon in general. And me, as someone who fucking adored Ruiner, can sit here and be like, a lot of these beats surpass Ruiner in many different ways. Now, there are parts of Ruiner that I think we're going to really struggle to ever surpass, but this Cantos 5 through 7 show me that Limbus Company has the potential to far exceed Ruiner. Not there yet. We're not there yet, but it has the potential. And it all started with Canto 5. You know why I like Canto 5 so much? Because it showed me that I was invested enough in this game that I could feel genuinely conflicted about my dislike for a character, at least at the time. I was really pissed off with Ishmael for 90% of Canto 5. Now, let me make this clear, because I often fumbled my points a lot during that time. Don't worry, this will be much more brief. But if I'm annoyed at a character, like getting angry with a character, do you know what that means? That means I'm invested. If I didn't give a fuck about the character and I didn't give a fuck about the story, I wouldn't be getting annoyed at them because I don't care. I don't care. Why would I care? Like, if I'm playing, I don't know, Skyrim and there's a fucking snotty NPC moping around the tavern, I don't give two fucks. Like, alright, let him be snotty then. It has nothing to do with me. I don't care. Like, frankly, I don't play Skyrim for the story. I play it to wander around the snow place and beat up bears. But I got annoyed with Ishmael because I cared. Because her character and its portrayal mattered to me. Now, I'm not saying they didn't portray her character properly at all. I feel personally invested. Hence, my personal disagreements with Ishmael in that canto, because I was like, it matters. It matters to me while I'm playing it. And I honestly feel that was playing into Canto 5's hands. The whole point is that Ishmael is going off the fucking rails for like the first 2 acts. That's like the whole point of Canto 5. She's going off the rails. Dante is doing everything they can to keep her in check and to try and keep her on their side, but they don't know what to do because they've never had to deal with something quite this severe before. Combined with the fact that the character Ishmael is bumping off of the most during this point, other than Dante, is Heathcliff, and that creates a situation in which Dante is far out of their comfort zone because Dante is not comfortable dealing with Heathcliff by this point at all. Whenever Heathcliff kicks off, Dante basically looks at Virgilius and is like, help. Or Ishmael. Frankly, but now he can't turn to Ishmael anymore because it's her turn and she's freaking the fuck out. And from her perspective, the rest of the team is not taking it seriously, which heightens her anxiety. You know, there's a lot of good stuff going on there, a lot of complicated interpersonal conflicts and stuff. Culminating in one of my favorite moments in which Dante gets that harpoon put in their shoulder, which is a big turning around point, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. It's not a immediately everything's fine now moment, but it definitely shows that things are about to change because Dante stepped up in that moment, didn't just tell Ishmael not to kill that person, but actively stepped in and was like, you are not going to kill this person. Straight up. No two ways about it. I'm not asking, I'm telling. And that was a key critical moment. It was also a key critical moment in earning Heathcliff's respect, which was very important for Canto 6. A lot of good stuff in Canto 5. Compass is one of the best combat tracks this game has ever seen, because the beat, the sound, and the tone of Compass perfectly suits a big ruiner fight. It's exactly the right, like, tempo, pace, all that jazz. It's perfect. Compass is not my favorite Limbus song, but it's my favorite combat song. It's my favorite song that has been used in combat because it is the best suited to a combat situation. In my opinion, of course. You may feel differently, and that's totally fine. But Canto 5 is... I'll change it to fucking great. Fucking great. Fucking great. Fucking great. Fucking great. Very good. No, not very good. Fucking great. Yes, that is my opinion on Canto 5. Let's move on. Canto 6. Canto 6 is the best. Now, let me be clear. Canto 6 was the best last time and it's still the best, which means the Canto 7 isn't the best. But I said it at the end of the video and I'll say it now. Canto 7 not being the best is not due to any lack of quality on Canto 7's part, right? I said at the end of Canto 6, I was like, I'm worried that we're going to be seeing a sort of downhill slope in quality after Canto 6, because Canto 6, it felt like it nailed it so perfectly. It felt like it nailed it so perfectly. It literally felt like this is like the height of Limbus. Definitely at that moment, but my concern was like, have we actually, I know everyone throws the word peak around constantly, but I was like, have we actually reached the peak? Is it all downhill from here? I'm worried that it is. I can happily say that that's not the case. Happily say that nah, Canto 7 exhibits a similar level of quality, but Canto 6 is still my favorite, because Canto 6 fucking rules, okay? Canto 6 fucking rules. Now, maybe this is me as, like, you know, bassist in a goth band, massive fan of Bloodborne, currently playing Vampire the Masquerade, but spooky ass fucking mansion with ghosts and shit. Cool. Fucking cool. The maids and butlers also being like fucking sick as hell combatants. All the stuff with like Hindley and Linton, and what repugnant little fuckers they are, but it's like, you know, there's reasoning behind it. They're not just shitty little people. There's reasons behind it. And seeing Heathcliff, who is always just a fucking vagabond and a rat to them, just metaphorically tower over both of them. Both of them are wretched compared to Heathcliff now. Just marvelous. Seeing Heathcliff deal with everything, fighting Heathcliff in his distorted form. A sinner distorted, that's nuts. We've seen him corrode, I don't think we've seen him distort before, and I'm actually really glad they didn't bring that back for Canto 7, because much like the Vergilius thing, would have been a bit lame to just bring it back for another Canto immediately afterwards. If they do it again in like Canto 8, 9, 10 or whatever, one of those, that's different. But if they were to immediately follow Canto 6 with Canto 7, it's like Don Quixote distorts and Vergilius comes in and fights the Blood Fiends and be like, alright, come on now. And obviously the writers knew this, and that's why they didn't do it. But yeah, Canto 6, that distortion fight, Earl King Heathcliff becoming Wild Hunt Heathcliff, and all that, everything that came with that, his fucking World of Warcraft swords, and this mount, and summoning an army of, like, Mirror World identities, which Vergilius then had to come in and deal with while we chased Heathcliff up the fucking manor, to the top, to the roof, for all of those story beats about Catherine and Heathcliff, which were absolutely heartbreaking, and for that final fucking fight, with the two different versions of Through Patches of Violet, with the masculine singing and the feminine singing, you know, high-low, or low-high, and all that. Like, the low voice for when you're fighting Heathcliff, and the high voice for when you're fighting Catherine, and the start of that fight when they're calling out to each other but can't hear each other because they're on, like, different sides of, like, a little pocket dimension that you're fighting them in. And you can hear the desperation in Earl King or Wild Hunt Heathcliff, because he's like, she's so close, she's right there, but she isn't. The best, the fucking best, absolute peak, best end of Canto boss fight, best end of Canto event, delete, incredible. Simply incredible. Simply amazing. Canto 6 will always, that is a foolish thing to say. I was about to say, Canto 6 will always be my favorite. Nah. That's a foolish thing to say, given the level of quality we're seeing from Project Moon at the moment, but Canto 6 is currently my favorite. It's fucking magnificent. But we move on to Canto 7. And I'm going to move these around a little bit in terms of like quality. You know, leftmost is the best, rightmost is the least best, as it were. So first of all, 5 is better than 4. It is. I really like 4, but 5 is better than 4. And 7 is better than both of them. 7, oh, come on. Oh, thank you. 7 is second best. And it's pretty fucking close, mate. Gotta be honest with you. Pretty fucking close. 7 has my favorite antagonist, frankly. Don Quixote's the best. Don Quixote fucking rules. Don Quixote is fantastic. I could listen to that dude talk all day about his stupid adventures and what he wants to do, and about La Mancha land, and just chatting to Sancho, and Sancho being like, whatever, old man. And he's like, I think I'd get more respect as a first kindred, but I suppose not. Don Quixote rules. Absolutely fucking rules. The best. Love him. Absolutely love him. The Blood Fiends and La Mancha land itself were fascinating. Learning about Blood Fiends was fascinating, right? And just seeing their behavior and how they act. The Barber, the Priest, the Dulcinea were all fantastic characters who were very interesting in their own right. Some fantastic voice acting around the Priest bit as well. The Blood Fiends you talked to just before you talked to the Priest had some great voice acting. Some of my favorite in the whole goddamn series, in fact, not just that Canto. I later learned that Rose Hunter actually had nothing to do with the corrosion of everyone in the last part of the Canto. Nothing to do with Rose Hunter. So the result is actually that Rose Hunter is a shitty, weak abnormality, but I don't care because Rose Hunter is fucking cool. So whatever. Yeah, no, the tie-ins to like their old adventures, the revelation that the adventures that our Don Quixote had told us about was actually her father's adventures with her as Sancho, taking the role of Rocinante, you know, you remember that. The duel with the White Knight, the Knight of the White Moon, was actually her father dueling with the White Moon Knight, which was incredible. Barry is incredible. She's super good. The fact that she was answering Don Quixote's letters and giving her, or answering Sancho's letters and giving her, like, you know, books and stuff to read about in regards to fixers is amazing. You got that combination of compassion and extraordinary strength, which, you know, her father also had, because Barry basically taught Don Quixote that shit. And the final fight with the windmill and then Don Quixote himself being an absolute fucker in a fight, insanely tough. Super fucking good. Super fucking good. Super fucking good. There are some problems with Canto 7, certainly. I'm a bit disappointed in all the fixer stuff. Was kind of hoping we'd see a little bit more from that. We had a lot of scenes establishing like, oh yes, oh, all these fixer officers are here, and we're all going to hit different parts of La Mancha land and blah, 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 blah. And obviously you knew they were going to fuck up. But I was hoping for a bit more of that. See a bit more of them in La Mancha land, like their effects, or see them dying, or seeing them turn on each other. There was a little bit of it, hence Romero's fate, you know, if you remember that, but there wasn't a lot of it. It felt like there was a lot of a build up to like fixers and how they fight and their attitudes and how they operate, and we just, in the end, didn't really get a lot of it. There's a lot of focus, I guess you could call it a bait and switch, or a red herring, which is fair enough. But I would have liked a little bit more focus on that, or at least, or if not more focus, then less focus, you know, because the intro to Canto 7 is quite long with like the briefing on La Mancha land and all that stuff and all the fixers and talking to them and crap. Could have maybe cut a little bit of that if we weren't going to play off of it much. Now, to be fair, a lot of that context is necessary for later themes, like how Don Quixote turns to Sancho and was like, were the fixers and was the city as just and noble and honorable as I told you? And Sancho has to say no, because, you know, we literally just encountered a bunch of fixers being assholes to each other consistently, and most of them just being like money grubbers, or in it for personal glory, or in it for the love of violence, or some combination of the three. So yes, I would argue that that does make those intro scenes a bit more necessary, but at the same time, we've already kind of established this throughout Limbus alone, let alone if the player is also played like Library of Ruina. Probably could have cut a little bit of it from the start of Canto 7, just to get the ball rolling a little quicker, and not to set up an expectation that fixer company relationships are going to be a thing, because we spent quite a bit of time with Camilla and Paula, and they just kind of wrote them both off pretty fucking abruptly, which, yeah, that is fairly Project Moon to just kill characters off, but at the same time, you established two interesting characters and did nothing with them, really. Paula was cool, and she does nothing. Camilla had the potential to be such a dastardly piece of shit, which would have made for very interesting scenes, and they just let you kill him off. And I'm like, there's no satisfaction in this. Maybe that's the point. But I feel like, you know, it was a situation where either commit to that idea or throw it out. Or maybe not necessarily throw it out, but don't lean in so hard if you're not going to do anything with it. Is this all a big deal? No, not really. But it is a factor. It felt like we wasted our time a bit setting up all this stuff with the fixes. At the end of the day, learning more about... Although, to be fair, the duel with Camilla is significant, and yeah, it does set up a lot of themes, so maybe I'm just not looking at how the removal of such a thing could affect later scenes. I'm not looking into that enough, you know, it's hard to say. I don't know, I just feel like maybe we could have done a bit more with the fixes. We've been talking about it for quite a bit. I figured Don Quixote's Canto would focus a lot more on fixes given her admiration for him, but they quickly become a side note and it focuses more on the Blood Fiend angle, which is absolutely fine. But a bit weird, I suppose. But other than that, I don't really have any criticisms for Canto 7. Canto 7 fucking ruled. And to be fair, I didn't make any criticisms for Canto 6, but Canto 6 wasn't perfect. I'm not saying like, oh yes, this is why Canto 6 is way better than Canto 7. Nah, I wouldn't even say the Canto 6 is better than Canto 7. Like I said, I'd say I just prefer it. But Canto 7 fucking ruled. Had a great time with Canto 7. That's why I wanted to finish it for New Year's, because I just wanted to get it done. Not just for the sake of getting it done, but because I wanted to fucking play it. I did not sit here and record for 14 hours out of a sense of obligation, although I guess there was an aspect of that. I did it because I wanted to fucking play it, and I wanted to see what was going on, and I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to get to the final fight, and I wanted to see what it was, and I wanted to play it, and I wanted to beat it, and I wanted to have that experience. That's why I did it. That's why I did it. Don't get me wrong, I had a feeling a lot of you would enjoy a longer form video, and that is a big factor of why I did it that way. That's why I edited it that way. But in terms of actually recording it, no, I did it because I wanted to, and that's that. Well, that is the tier list for the Cantos. Friends, let me know what you think. I'm sure there'll be some points that many of you will disagree on, but in terms of personal preference, this is where we're sat for now. I'm very interested to see how Canto 8 does. Very, very interested. Some people have said like, oh, you should do like intervallo tier lists, and I see the logic behind the idea. I do, I understand it, but no, because at that point I feel like one more tier list will just start to make the idea a bit dull. Too many tier lists. 2 is already more than I was planning to do, right? I was planning to just rate the sinners. I'm not going to do this at the end of every Canto, by the way. I'm not going to go through every Canto at the end of every Canto. We'll wait a couple Cantos or so and then go through these again and talk about them again. Because A, it'll have been a while and you might be interested to hear how my thoughts have changed, and B, new people might be here who didn't necessarily want to go through the backlog of Cantos 1 to 7 or whatever, and they might be interested in hearing what I have to say on the matter. So that's why we'll do it that way. Sinner tier list we'll do every single time, because the sinners are always doing shit. But that is that for that. Yes, indeed. Jesus Christ, I've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes. I had a lot to say, guys. A lot to fucking say. Let's do some extractions. God, you can tell how long it's been since I came here. Okay. There's not a lot going on. Oh, yeah, I could do this. I can do this. Let's start with this. I mean, I'm probably not going to get anything, although I haven't got that. I don't know if I have that either. All right, there might be some stuff to get here. There's nothing else I can do with this, so I may as well give it a go. Oh, it's been so long since we extracted a thing. Well, I think one of these is guaranteed to be 3-star, so let's see what we can get. But, you know, there have been a lot of identities that have come out since my abstinence from extractions for the sake of Canto 7. There's got to be something we're going to pick up before Walpurgisnacht, surely. Something new, something interesting. And if not, well, those are potential extractions for the future, stuff we can find in the future. That was one of my most enjoyed things about coming into Limbus so late. Hello! Oh, that's a shame. Oh well. It was one of my most enjoyed things about coming into Limbus so late was the fact that there were so many identities, and basically every time I rolled I got something because there was so much to for me to get, because so much had already come out. I guess we'll start with this. Yeah, people were right. There's not a lot here that like is, you know, stuff I can use. Oh, there's not a lot here. I don't know. It's not a great moment to be doing this, but fuck it. Let's have a quick look. We'll do like 2 each or something. Because we've been going for quite a while as well, and oh, we still need to do a mirror dungeon. Ugh. It certainly is an array of little splashy doodads. So I'm guessing, obviously, that the new mirror dungeon is going to have some kind of gimmick to it, but I'll be fucked if I have any idea what that's going to be. I've also heard that they're bringing voices back to Intervalos now, and that they've gone back and done Miracle in District, whatever the fuck, and given it voices, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to go back and redo it, because honestly, that's a waste of time. That actually feels disrespectful to you guys to produce that as content when we've already done it. Cool, good, great, yeah, we're back in, lads, we're back in. This is exactly what I was expecting. Oh, that's a little better though, isn't it? Hello. Oh, what's all this then? We gotta go through the shit ones first, it's the rule. Oh, yes indeed. Oh, fucking love gambling, lads. Get me down to Betfred. I'm gonna put it all on black. Oh, yes. Why do I even bother clicking through these? What's the fucking point? Because I like building suspense. We've been through this before. Come on. No. Maybe. Ooh. I've never heard that kind of voice acting from Gregor before. I like that a lot. Did it look anything like this by any chance? That's great. That's super cool. I love you, Greg. What a fucking hero. And it's good because we actually have a lot of ego. Actually, we have a fair few. Now we have more. Ah, and it's a new one that we don't have equipped to anything yet. Ah, glorious. Christmas Nightmare. A max HP, heal 10 SP at turn end and gain 1 attack power up next turn. That's already great. Tremor Burst. God, this would have been great for the team I was just running. Inflict force sinking if the target is in staggered, low morale, or panic state. Inflict 1 attack power down next turn. Ooh. And it's attack weight 5. Now, it doesn't roll particularly highly, but fuck it, man. That's worth it. Against all enemies, inflicts 1 offense level down or 1 defense level down to all enemies. Number of enemies in staggered, low morale, or panic states times 2 times per turn. Effect does not stack with ego gifts with the same effect. So if you time this right, you can cripple a large number of enemies. It doesn't seem particularly incredible, but there's definitely applications here, and this is only level 1. I bet at higher thread spins, this has a lot going for it. Good stuff, good stuff. Honestly, I think I like that the most for Greg's voice line. I have never heard him say anything with Venom before. Good stuff. We'll do 2 here as well. Unfortunately, it is target extraction Heathcliff, and I have quite a lot of Heathcliff identities, so not expecting a lot here, but we'll see what we can do. I've got a lot of money, so why not? That's roughly what I expected. Okay. I'm trying to think of what Heathcliff identities I don't have, actually, and I mean, it's hard to think of identities I don't have because I intentionally stay unaware of them because that's more interesting to me. Like, I prefer to be surprised whenever I see an identity rather than just being like, oh boy, I hope I get this one. It's why I tend to try and ignore what the images on the extraction things actually show because I just don't want to know. But this is not surprising me in the slightest. What is surprising me is a distinct lack of Heathcliffs amongst the rank 2s, but you know, it's whatever. We'll do one more. I am going to save money for Wally Perg, don't worry. Oh wow, this is a good one, lads. Oh, roll of the dice has really come out well for us this time. Oh, I do say. Oh, fucking hell. Look at all this. There's a sweet bunch of fuck all for you to sink your teeth into. Oh, shit. Oh, I missed this. I did miss this. We got something new today. We actually got 2 new things today if you include the battle pass. So that's fine. Yeah, it's fuck all. Alright, cool. We'll make up for that soon, I reckon, when Wally Perg comes around again. Mirror of the Dreaming. How fun. Weekly bonuses, yeah, all of them, because I haven't fucking done it yet. We've got to go Canto 17, because that's what we used. I guess we're going in. Yeah, this is the team. Oh, hello. Grace of the Dreaming Star. So this is how we do our upgrades now? Thing is, are these permanent or are they, do you spend them on each what time you go in? Upon entry, all identities gain 3 levels. Upon floor clear, all identities gain 1 levels. Yes, please. Starlight Guidance. Extra speed, clash power, damage, and protection. Yes, please. Starting cost plus 400. Starting ego gift choice plus 1. Yes, please. Big stacks, lads. Massive stacks. Will you select these effects? Remaining rest bonus will be converted to cost. Okay, so you want to spend all of it. Confirm. And we need Tremor this time. There's no Tremor here. Oh, there is Tremor here. Okay, I was getting worried. Soured Liquid Aroma, I think. I've never really done Tremor before, so this is interesting. Skills Affinity was Wrath. Targaz. That's good for debuffs. Reverberation, yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. Good, good. Oh, that's sad. Let's see what we can do. I'll probably skip a lot of the fights, because if I'm right, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be like this. So it's going to be very similar to what we've done before. Can I bump it up? Oh, wait, can you switch back and forth between floors? If so, that's actually really interesting. I'm going to go on hard, and we'll see how we do, yeah? Give it a little bit of a fucking 2-1, do-one. Smash them out, bring it home. But first of all, story. Ah, it's the paper crane guy. Ah, I see. You want to do it? Shake your head. No fucking way. I'm a slothy boy. Go on, Hongler. If you fuck it up, it won't be a problem. Go on, lad. Beautiful. Appreciate it. You made the job easier. Paper soldiers start fighting nearby. The defeated soldiers' bodies are torn, exploding into paper cranes. One of the cranes crawls your way. Take good care of that piece. Satisfied sheet of paper drenched itself in coffee. Because that's what you do.
너무 칭찬하진 말아주세요.
Oh, Honglu, please, I insist. Starting this with an ego resource gathering gift is kind of amazing. That's actually really, really good. Very happy with that. Alright, well, we're just gonna be fighting fucking N-Corps. This is gonna be piss. Absolutely no problems. I want these two on the first 2 identities to gain that bonus because they're doing a lot of fucking tremor. In fact, everyone, yeah, level 53. Hey, nice. No worries, boys. Once we get the SP up, we'll be clearing through these. And considering that every floor, I think we're gaining an additional level, we're going to be getting quite a few bonuses. A lot of shit fights to get through, so don't worry. I'm not going to subject you to these. Floor 1, you know the deal by now. Ah, nice. Now here's some stuff we can play with. 20% chance to get the cost refunded when refreshing in a shop. That seems like it's good to get early on. Definitely. Do a little refresh. Ooh, Nixie Diversions. Inflict 4 tremor potency and 4 tremor counter all enemies or all abnormality parts when hitting an enemy with an envy affinity. Yes. Thank you. Livograph. Yep, thank you. Gemstone Oscillator. Yep, thank you. Just want as much tremor as possible. Can we enhance anything? I'm spending with both hands. I can't fucking help it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going nuts. We'll upgrade more later. And if you're like, but Foreman, the special ego gifts from combinations, guys, enough, all right? We both know I'm not gonna fucking do it because I can't be asked. If I lose, it's my fault, okay?
흥미로운 일이 벌어지면 좋겠어요.
Oh yes, these two. I remember, with the poison and such. It's actually got some pretty good music, I remember, yeah. So there's only 4 attacks, which means Rhodia and Don Quixote can totally go into gold borrowed time, which would be great. I don't think I'm going to need to show much of this, I gotta be honest. So, maybe the highlights, perhaps, if there are any. No worries, lads. Easily done. The poison was rather annoying, I'll admit. Hopefully not going to run into that too much in the future. Ooh la la, what's all this? Aww. Guess another I love getting free gifts. Oh, I do, actually. Clasped Sculpture. 3-4 are deployed. 2 remaining coins after a clash using a blood skill deal more damage. Okay. Of course, they gain their bonuses. Upgrade the first encounter reward card to the highest tier it could spawn as, but 5% less damage. A green spirit is kind of amazing. Yeah, I need that. I can get 2. Ah, yeah, that is risky, isn't it? Yeah, I just realized how this is actually a problem. Okay. Well, fuck it then. Just gonna get as many gifts as possible and just, you know, add them all up. Well, there's new stuff in to be cleaved, so that seems worthwhile. Just so we can see. Go for it. Although they are all weak to slash and we don't do a lot of slash, so that's a problem. But don't worry about it, it'll be fine. I'm gonna go this way so we can get that. Oh, it's you fuckers. Wonderful. Mounting trials. So far, I like what they've been doing with the mirror dungeons. Each time I've been pleasantly surprised. I know other people haven't been, and you know, that's fine, each to their own, but I've been liking it, honestly. There's some cool stuff going on. That guy had a bad life. What level are these guys? 53, okay. But we're 54, we're stronger. It's so nice to be able to win rate again after all that time of not win rating. It won't last, obviously. Things are going to get very dangerous, especially if we're selecting 2 ego rewards at the end of every dungeon. That's going to be super bad for us. Do these 5 appendages protruding from their urn be a palm? Maybe. Or is it a naked person who put their head into the golden urn? Well, this person's seeing the urn to cause them to shove their face into it. And as if that wasn't enough, the whole body turned into a hand that tries to grasp everything it can. If it finally takes hold of everything in the world, will its grip loosen at last? I don't know, man. This is all a bit above my pay grade. Let's shake. Let's shake. Who will hug it? Oh, it's not looking great. Go on, Faust, you got it. Give it a hug. Good stuff. To hug is to embrace another. The fingers that were stretched to grasp things clasp with another's appendages for the first time. Between the quietly laced appendages, there was a warmth of blood beginning to circulate. Like that, the rigid greed loosens. Oh, I dare say. Cost 50 gained, golden urn. Yeah, that's very good to get at the start of the fucking mirror dungeon. Do appreciate that. It's dark seascape, and behold, a giant sheep. Oh my, cut the cables. We've done this before, that's why I'm skipping through. I don't think we're gonna get much from that, but it's another thing. I could probably fuse it, maybe. I don't know. This is apparently going to be a big deal. Ah! You guys are so fucking fucked, you have no idea. I was wondering if, like, oh, should I show this one? Because it might be a significant encounter. No. Oh, there's more. Oh, I dare say 2 waves. Settle down, lads. I might start to think we're in danger. Yep. We're only on floor 2. I'm not gonna get too big a head over this. Oh, blue Zippo lighter, let's fucking go. When the ego spam starts to happen, it's gonna really happen. Effects only apply to 3-4 deployed identities. Could make that work. I'm gonna get that. It'll all fall apart the moment we have to call in backup, but before then, could be something. Not feeling any of these. Let's do some enhancements. Okay, yes. Power this up. Offense level count gain. Oh, I do believe so. Good. Yep. More of that tremor, please. We can win any fight with enough tremor. Leave the shop. Time for boss fight. Let's see if I can be a little bit smarter about this, though. Hey. So, 1 and 2 are gaining blunt bonuses. 3 and 4 are gaining pierce bonuses. You're doing mostly slash with some pierce. You're blunt for days. Hitting that doob. You do piercing skills. Alright, so... Oh god, I'm gonna have to fuck around with this so much. I'll be back in a minute. You don't want to see this. There we go. I don't know if that's the best, but it'll spread out those bonuses a little bit. What boss you got for me? Give me a new boss. Come on, I want to see a new boss. New boss. Interesting new boss. Come on now. Ah! Whatever. When the telephone pole is hit, inflict 2 shock on the attacker this turn. Hey, that's actually new. I don't remember that happening. Take more damage by the effect's value for the turn. At 5+ lightning, all parts will inflict 3 shock on the attacker starting next turn. Powers up after the count reaches a certain amount. Okay. Okay, so you want to smash the telephone pole, yeah. And this is where the telepole egos come from. I really want to get some of them. They look fucking sick. Good stuff. We'll start smacking it. I think we'll be alright. Ooh. Ooh, he didn't like that. No, he didn't. No, he wasn't a fan. Oh, he didn't appreciate that. Oh, and he's got paralysis. You poor fucker. That is a shame, isn't it? Almost as if we can lean in on the telephone pole now. Oh, dearie, 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 dearie me. And the telepole is broken. Lads, it's not close. I don't know how to tell you this, but it's not close. It's not close. It's just not close. I know I'm skipping a lot of these fights, but lads, they're not close. Like, we know that if there's any interesting shit to happen, it's going to be on like floor 4 or 5. I'll get a tier gift. Today's expression. Oh, yeah. This is also where it's interesting, because this is where I can make things go very wrong for me. Ah, phlebotomy pack. Yeah, go on then. Yeah, a little bit of phlebotomy pack, yeah. Yeah, all right then. Yeah, go on. And tomorrow's fortune. Yeah, go on then. Yeah, a little bit of that. Some self-healing is actually very useful, because other than fluid sac and pursuance, we're not tripping over healing options here. Degraded gloom, but I believe I know what that is. Actually, I'm not sure I do. Is that the headless ichthys thing, or is that something else entirely? It does say new. Let's give it a go, shall we? Giant lizard thing with the cold skin of a machine. Does he dream of electric shape? Its long tail shaped like the human hand bends in all directions before straightening to point at me. The heavenly commander is I serve. The commander serves for commands. Tell me what you command. I don't command anything. I don't command anything. Who will speak the command of nothing? It will be Heathcliff. Heathcliff will do it. I didn't give it any commands. None could go about giving commands. It's bullshit. Watching its tail sway menacingly, we hastily waved our hands and gave an excuse. I have to wash my hair tonight, I'm sorry. Your command is understood. Now I see what you meant. Yeah, totally. It's something we have said, elicited a response. Command should be carried out. Place a mysterious object before leaving. Thorny path. It's sinking stuff, and we don't do that. So I guess if we get, if Yi Sang ever comes onto the field, that will be helpful. I might want to start investing a little bit of my cost per floor into the resting stuff, just to make sure that everyone in reserve gets SP up, because I don't want them coming onto the battlefield at 0 SP in a dangerous situation, because I'll probably just get fucked up. Oh, these lads. Yes, I remember. I remember. They are getting stronger, though, aren't they? Not strong enough, but stronger. There was never any chance. Yeah. I already have that, though, so what happens if I pick it up? I get a different one. Counts as a tier 1 ego gift. Can be sold at a shop or be used as an ingredient for fusion. That's super good. Oh, that's pretty neat that they've done that. Yeah, I like that. That's fun. Damp and slippery. This is the Emerald Forest. Green rain was pouring down and it's seeming quite sticky. See someone next to you holding a large piece of grass like an umbrella. Oh dear, I'd advise against being hit by this rain. Oh, come on, get onto this umbrella, all of you. Oh, if you stand in the rain, you might melt down head first. Oh, dearie me. Give me your gifts, you coward. Give me your gifts. Give them to me. Fuck you. This won't take long. I just want to amass 1,000,000 fucking gifts. That's all I want. I like that he failed casting Shade, he still gets this giant leaf. What a fucking loser. Can't even accept the fact that he failed. What a tool. Thing is, I think after completing Canto 7, like, I always like Limbus Company anyway, but I'm really into it at the moment, and it's kind of annoying that I'm like, alright, well, that's everything for a while, I guess. Like, we've got Walpurgis Snack coming soon, and That'll probably come with a little thingy that we can do, like a little boss fight or whatever, which will be fun. But other than that, it's not going to be a lot I mean, there is going to be a lot in the future, but time, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, this means I can go back to Ruiner, and that's cool. I want to keep doing Ruiner because Ruiner was fun. You know, doing the each floor one by one, and then eventually we're going to go on to that city-wide revolt mod or whatever. Looking forward to that, absolutely. But I want to play more Limbus right now. I want some big fight. What I want right now is a refraction railway. That's what I want right now. And, you know, fair enough, they've got to work on it. I don't begrudge them that at all. And I'll tell you what, those fuckers work real hard to give us this stuff, but goddamn, do I want a refraction railway right now? I'm feeling it in my bones. I wanna get hurt again. Hey, it's you again. Fun. But we already did this, you know, in the Canto, obviously. This won't take long. It is that simple, lads. Truly is. We're only on floor 3? I think it's floor 3. I honestly lose count while I'm doing these. But yeah, still not supposed to be a challenge yet. And we got some really good bonuses at the start. Grimy Iron Stake, always fun, always enjoyable. Layered Bandages, yeah, that might actually come in handy. There's a lot of dangerous bleed bosses now. Super Shop. I thought that said Erd Tree Snare, and I was like, you hacks. Stealing from Elden Ring. Foul tarnished. Emboldened by the flame of ambition. In search of the Elden Ring. Sorry, I just like that line a lot. It's really funny. It's the first genuinely hard boss in the game, and he just shit talks you right off the bat. It's so funny. You could literally rewrite his lines as "fuck you, you little bastard, get out of my sight." Good stuff, good stuff. We've spent a lot of money, but you gotta spend money to make money, and we've been spending money. I'm probably gonna regret that, aren't I? Ah, it's fine. Wound Cleric would be nice, but it's not a huge deal. Boss time! Come on, give me something new. I want to see something new. I want to see something big and special and new. Or at least give me an end of Canto boss for funsies. You know, so I can't make any money off this video. That'd be pretty funny. Oh, I hate this thing. I hate this thing so much. I'm not even going to bother showing this. Waste of fucking time. Sorted, but Don Quixote's SP did drop down to like minus 35 at the end of that, so next fight's gonna suck. For real. I want more. I know this isn't. That's a lot of cost. Yeah, I want the cost. Yeah, I want those fast stacks. You know I do. You know I do. So what do we got? Melted Eyeball. It's really good. Yep, that's worth it. We've already got Lithograph. Yeah, that's worth it. Yeah, resolution's pretty good. At the very least for Heathcliff. I know he has quite a few slash attacks, so that'll do a lot for him. Sheer Association. I really want to build into a Sheer Association team at some point. I think that'd be really fun. Ooh, a bunch of new stuff. Not necessarily new, but stuff we don't know. We'll go Unrelenting Might. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. This is where things will start to get difficult, I think. Because they gained quite a few levels from what we just did. And a big fight already. Let's see what we're in for. Bearing in mind Don Quixote's SP is fucking garbage, so we're probably gonna have to start with Fluid Sac. Oh shit, straight up Rose Hunter. Well, I'll be. Wasn't expecting that, gotta be honest. He's a fun lad. Ah, I love this guy. Don Quixote can just hit him in the sides for now because her SP is too low. I love the music as well. It's such a tone setter, I suppose. It's not particularly dramatic. It's very sense of adventure kind of track. It actually reminds me, this bit especially, of Slay the Spire. It's a very Slay the Spire flavor to it. I like it a lot. I want to make sure we are inflicting tremor count. We need to keep it going. Otherwise, this could get a bit problematic. Like a little bit. No, it wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, tremor count, for sure. He's already got max tremor. Sadly, we're not really, tremor bursting him at the moment, but once our opportunity arises, we'll go for it. Plus, you know, time moratorium's gonna kick in soon. Oh, already staggered him. Oh, okay. Oh no, killed the plant. Yeah, the plant. Forgot about the plant. Solved that issue without even meaning to. Oh, that was a bad turn for him. Oh, that was a bad turn for him. Oh, no. Oh, that was a bad turn for him. Oh, I dare say. Pour one out for one's homies. And metallic ringing's gonna hit him as well. And oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. Yep. Oh, Faust is incredible. No chance. Embarrassing even. I mean, what was he supposed to do? This is the Tremor team. Without that Hong Lure ego, so you know it's legit. So this is going to be mostly inconsequential, but the first one I think applies Rupture at some point, so it's not going to do much, but it's a little bit, it's a little something. Oh, yes. The tree wants water. There we go. And everyone here, oh, perfect. Oh, wonderful. Good stuff. Now everyone's at max SP, so if anyone gets kicked off the battlefield violently, their substitute will be ready to fucking go. Oh my god, it's crab time. Oh, hold on, lads. I wasn't quite prepared for this. No one said it was going to be crab time. Nobody said it was going to be crab time. Take them out, boys. How many crabs are there? Many. Actually, many crabs. This will go on for quite a while. Ah. Okay. Can roll with it. No chance. That was a lot of crabs, and most of them were around 300 HP. That took a while. That took a while. That took a fair while. No big deal for us, though. No. Not the best Tremor team you've ever seen. No fucking way. Give me a gift. Oh, broken compass. That's actually decent. Despite its best efforts, floor 4 is not giving us much trouble either, so I don't think there'll be much to show until we get to the boss. Ah, it's these guys again. Oh, they're fucking annoying. How many of them? 10. Yeah, I thought so. As I say, it's definitely taking a while to kill them now, but they're not strong. They're just durable, basically. Oh, a star. That could stack up over time. I do believe so. Wobbling keg. Clash power +1. Oh, I do believe so. Thank you. Yep, disc fragment's useful. Do a quick refresh, see if we got anything else. Ooh, rusted muzzle. Yeah, rusted muzzle's good. Guaranteed bleed, because if we upgrade that twice, then it becomes every time we deal damage, inflict 3 bleed potency. Which is very fucking nice. And then, oh, lowest start, yeah, more SP damage. It probably isn't that useful, but I like having it. Power that up. Crits aren't necessarily something we're leaning into, but it's always nice to have. What are we up against today? I see La Mancheland's windmill. I swear to God, if I'm fighting Don Quixote, I'm gonna just give up now. There's no chance. Dongrang, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. You're doing this to me again? You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. No, my ad revenue. No. I'll put my own fucking music over it. Yeah, off you go. See, I did actually turn the music back on. I swear to you I did. But the thing is, the fight was so horrifically one-sided that I was like, there's not really, I don't really have anything to say. Like, I just beat his ass for like 5 minutes. It was not close. I don't think we lost a single clash. And we clashed basically everything. It was not close. Oh boy, was that not close. I'm putting it all on boss 5, you know? And even if that is one-sided, I'll still talk over it, so, you know, we have some combat that's actually fully presented in this video, but so far, I'm willing to bet that floor 5 is going to be tough, but so far, we've been crushing them. This is fucking ridiculous. Activates when using Ego Awakening skills that apply Tremor Potency, Count, or Unique Tremor, not Corrosion skills. Gain final power equal to Sloth Ego resource plus sum of other Ego resources divided by 3 consumed. Sloth Ego Awakening skills inflict additional Tremor count before attacks. Zayn and each different type inflicts more and deal Tremor Potency on target times 1.5% more damage. That's pretty nutty. We'll get First Aid Kit. And Body Up 2. But I reckon on this floor, they might actually start really putting up a fight. I reckon so. Because it sort of started to lean more in that direction. Oh, a rusty commemorative coin. Oh, kind of hard not to, isn't it, really? We've gone together such a ridiculous, like, array of powers and stuff. I'm gonna save making this statement for certain. Long battle? What is... I'm fucking curious. What does that mean? Line 3, Mirror Clock, Orange Road. What the hell does that mean? What does long battle mean? Well, at risk of making myself miserable, I have to try, don't I? What is that? The fuck? Line 3. Oh my god, it's Refraction Railway Line 3 and they're gonna make me fight a fuck ton of shit. I remember Line 3 being really difficult as well. Yeah, the sea is a dark place. There's light there though, because there's things that shine in the dark, so let's go there. We'll shine brighter than anything. We're all abandoned, but we had dreams too, yeah. Yeah. Rupture or poise or... I gotta be honest, I don't want to fight this thing because I'm really shit at fighting it, and it's on floor 5, so I'm not gonna fight it. We'll just get the poise gift. Go on, Sinclair, you got it. Yes. I remember I've always wanted to run across a rolling field of grass under the warm sun. That's great, buddy. Endorphin kit, thank you. We're not going to get a lot from that, but cool, still. Apparently, this seems like it's going to be a bit of a big deal. Hey, telepole. I don't know if I've had this event before. A thunderous howl booms from where lightning strikes. There lies a hound with numerous heads. Multiple telepoles are protruding from its back. I can see violets flash over, sparking from all of them, though they are all of different sizes. The hound hasn't noticed our approach just yet. Maybe we can take one of them if we sever its wire. Why would I bother fighting it for a charge ego gift when I think only Merceau uses charge and not much? Take a small one. We might fail at this, though. Distinctly possible. So that requires all 3. Risky. That requires all 3. That requires all 3. And that requires all 3. It really doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things, but we'll go with Yisang. Nope. Yisang removes the smallest telepole. There is a low warning growl. A spark rapidly climbs the telepole. Yisang quickly released the telepole, but it was too late. He returns empty-handed, sizzled by lightning. Takes 30 damage. Let's cover this moment with dirt, shall we? Let's just pretend that didn't happen. What the fuck is this long battle gonna be? We need to make sure we're ready. So, heal everyone. Like, I know Yisang only took a little bit of damage, but you never know. Thunder Branch, I suppose, because we don't inflict rupture potency with our skills, with skill effects. Fuse. Confirm. Downpour. A lot of tremor. Trigger tremor burst on all enemies. Oh my god, that's powerful. Holy shit, good stuff. Temporal Bridle, yeah, that's good. Can we enhance Temporal Bridle? Because that could be quite powerful. Yes, we can. More offense level up and blunt damage up and stuff. Yeah, we could definitely do with those. 3 blunt damage up, 2. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is some good stuff. Probably should have upgraded this first, though. Too late now. Okay, well, I think we're good to go then, aren't we? Long battle, you say? Line 3. Are we actually just fighting the entirety of, like, Refraction Railway Line 3? Because if so, I'm fucked. It's starting to look that way, isn't it? Enemy 30. 30. 30. 30 of them. Okay, well, taking no risks. We spend with both hands. We've got the ego. Let's use it. I ain't fucking losing now. Are you kidding me? Fuck that. We go in and we don't stop. I love electric screaming. Absolutely adore these ego attacks. So much fun. It's all of these fucking... Well, I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember what the term is, but you know, the whale of fire fuckers. I forgot you should do this twice. Oh my god. Wait, does that mean Fluid Stack will go twice? So we get the healing twice? I'm gonna try that next turn. I'm pretty sure you can just get commemorative coin and then spam fluid sac and win. And they all tremor burst. This is disgusting. What is this? What is this ridiculousness that I have gotten? What is this? And I want Rodeo use Pursuance so that we get NO, and then the follow-up, and then 2 Pursuances. No, that's a waste. No, that's silly. No, that's silly. That's a waste of resources. Don't need to. 2 Fluid Sacs is more than enough. Now, Fluid Sac doesn't do a lot of damage, sure, but it will probably clear the field. No, it won't clear the field. It will do a lot, though, and we're all going to get restored to full. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, she does it again. This is fucking hell. Now, obviously, the risk involved with the commemorative coin is that you pay the SP cost twice, but she's just gotten it back, basically. Everyone's at full health and full SP. The enemy's got absolutely decimated. That is absolutely gross. They let us do that. Oh my god. Now, I'm not going to be too cocky right now, you know, because when it says line 3, it might not just be a ton of fish people, it might also be bosses, so I'm going to be careful. But it is looking pretty good, lads, not gonna lie. It's looking pretty good. This will suck for them. Don Quixote is absolutely just tearing up all by herself. Kinda nuts. How dare you? Rude. That's 6 of them down. We're good, we're doing alright. Hopeless, you say? If only I had ego attacks, and many of them. Hopeless, you say? If only I had fluid sac. Oh, I do. Oh, I do have that, don't I? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do have that. Oh, what a fucking shame. Oh. And if only these moves had attack weight. If only these moves hit multiple targets. Oh, wait, they do. Oh. And the multiple staggers everywhere. And do the same thing again. This is disgusting. I didn't even have to try, like... You know, let me know in the comments, I'm sure you will anyway, but how lucky was I with the bonuses I got at the start? Like, are those unusual? Because those seem ridiculous. You know, gaining levels every floor? If you're at max level, you just keep pace. Like, hard becomes a joke. I guess then the way to do this, like, to enjoy it, would be to pick the weaker options to give yourself a challenge, right? Because I got really good stuff on that one. But I guess the bonus you get, or the currency you get to buy those bonuses is tied to the team you use, and if you use the same team over and over, it gets lower, right? You get less. So you would have to switch up each time, and I mean, I can't speak for anyone, really, but I'm assuming most people don't have multiple level 50 teams. Like, full good teams. I imagine a lot do, but probably not everyone. And if you do, well, you just get to continue having fun having this be fucking ridiculously overpowered. So there's that, you know, it still has value. This is absurd, even Protect the Town can't stop me. They have literally nothing. Another one dead. It's an absolute slaughter. And a little bit of Tremor Burst just for fun, and that's 12 of them dead. We're moving right along. Just spam the ego. What can they do about it? What can they actually do about it, though? They have no counterplay. None. It is absolutely disgustingly absurd. That guy is very dead. The power. The power. Oof. Ooh. What are they supposed to do exactly? Oh my god. And then there's this. I forgot I did this, to be honest. So what's the catch? This can't be it. I don't know, we'll see, I suppose, but so far, this is an absolute massacre. And then do that to make sure you hit many of them, and then just keep doing that. And I don't even want to use I Command Thee Halt, because I don't need to, and I don't want to put them in Time Moratorium, because they die too quick. Why would I bother? What's the point? Just kill them. That almost failed, but Heathcliff is way too strong. And he's gonna do binds twice. Twice! He reigns alone atop the solitary throne. Twice! Good stuff! Oh look, he's doing it again! Oh, he's such a crazy bastard! Beautiful. Simply beautiful. And the tremor burst as well. They've got nothing, man. It's kind of disturbing how little they have. Which means there's got to be another round after this. There's no way this is the final challenge. It's too easy to deal with. Then again, getting commemorative coin is very lucky, but I don't think I needed commemorative coin to beat this. The rest of my bonuses were more than enough. Right? Like, I'm not crazy there, am I? I don't know, I kind of like it. I think this is fun. Giving you the capacity to break the game to this degree is pretty fucking sweet. They're sending out the bigger mermaids now, and that's great, good for them, but I just don't see it stopping us. I don't know, I just don't see it. I don't know what they can do. Like, oh no, they're beating us. Well, I've saved up a lot of ego. Then again, ego spam, you know. Obviously, is probably going to win, but I found at these late levels, like, you know, remember when we fought Gas Harpoon fucking Ahab at the end of a set of mirror dungeons? Like, ego spam wasn't enough to deal with her, because that fight has a genuinely kind of tough gimmick to it. Like, Ahab is tough. These guys just get bodied over and over. They've got nothing. Absolutely, spend. Double stagger, double dead. Oh, you're in Time Moratorium, that's pretty funny. Bunch more showed up, 23 dead. I don't think I need to show any more now unless something big happens, so I'll see you on the other side, I suppose. Like, what is there to say? I've absolutely crushed them. And I wouldn't put it down to skill, we're just that powerful. This isn't even a particularly great clashing team. They're not bad at it, they're not bad at it at all, but I've got better clash teams. Purple team would absolutely decimate this. In fact, I'm looking forward to doing this with purple team sometime. Is Downpour a fusion gift? Did I accidentally get a fusion gift, or is that just normal? Or is that just a normal, really good gift? Because inflicting Tremor Burst every turn is fucking loopy. Like, some bosses obviously wouldn't do anything against. Dong Rang, for example, doesn't have a stagger threshold, but against against most enemies in the game, that's just game, set, match, isn't it? 24, and there are 5 here, so there's something big at the end. Okay. Or that's the implication I'm getting. Anyhow. We have so many ego resources, I'm not worried. And this one triggers Tremor Burst. Not that it really matters by this point, but it's nice to know. I think I'm gonna miss Tremor, you know? I like Tremor. Tremor is fun. I like it meaning more than just yellow damage. I like playing with stagger thresholds and trying to get that going, and then trying to get the different flavors of Tremor, like to lower clash power, for example, or lower defense values, and trying to maintain it. Something about it's enjoyable. Oh, mate, I thought you were going to be a boss. Really? Okay, all right, sure, man. Good luck. May the best man win. It's me, obviously. GG, lad. There's gotta be another round after this, surely. Yeah, this was a long battle, but it was fucking piss easy. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's supposed to be easier. That could be a possibility, you know, for people who are struggling in the dungeon. It's like, here, we'll give you a fight that isn't too insane. I don't know. I'm not a dev. I don't fucking know. If it is providing them an easier option for people, I really like that. Because I don't feel like I got an easy version of that, because, you know, the fucking Pecod Town villagers and the mermaids roll quite high and are pretty fucking dangerous. And their levels are upscaled. Dunno. But I liked that very much. That was very fun. That's a cool mirror dungeon. I like where it's at the moment. It's a good time. I will claim my rewards. Oh, yes. That's all I get in terms of the Christmas thing. Whatever. Give it to me. Yes. Oh, it's been so long since I claimed mirror dungeon rewards. Oh, fuck yeah. Give it to me. This number will start to shoot up now that I'm allowed to do mirror dungeons again. It already has, in fact. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. Oh boy, oh my, oh me, oh dearie me. Oh, look at that. That was a lot of stuff. That's cool. I like that. I like what they've done. If the intent, like, let me know, because you guys know more about this shit than I do. But if the intent of the long battle at the end of the hard mirror dungeon is to make sort of an easier alternative to trying to fight, like, I don't know, Ahab on floor 5, I like that. I probably wouldn't choose it for a video. If I'd known it was the easier option, I would have gone somewhere else, because, you know, we like to have a challenge here on the video, because that's more interesting. But for people who just want to try and get... just, you know, don't necessarily want to bash their head against a boss that is being upscaled to a ridiculous level, I kind of dig it. I kind of dig that. Of course, I did have a ridiculous combination of ego gifts, so that might have just made it easy. Maybe that's really hard normally. I don't know. It's my first time doing the dungeon. I couldn't fucking say. But I liked it. I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed it too. You know, I hope we had a good time. Oh, we got the Sancho voice actor. Let's go. Not voice actor, but, you know, commentator, whatever.
자, 테디. 나를 따라해 보는 거야. 짜잔.
That's adorable. Hex now. That's Hex now? Oh, interesting. I mean, yeah, obviously. Because it's obviously based off of that abnormality. I don't know, my brain didn't make that connection, but cool.
저번 라만차랜드 내레이션으로는 부족했던 겁니까? 이번에는 또 무슨 이상한 걸 시키시려고. 안 하겠다는 건 아니지만요.
Good stuff. We got a lot of fun rewards there. So what are we looking forward to at the end of this? Now I can actually look ahead and... Yearning, Makula. That's the thing that put roses on everyone's heads. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. What else we got? I like how I'm looking at shit that other content creators fucking looked at when this came out. And I'm now like, let's do a fucking live react to that shit you all knew about like 4 months ago, 3 months ago. I don't know. A while ago. It's all pretty standard, but I like getting these kinds of rewards. This is the shit I actually like. Don Quixote, Yearning, Macaula. Cool, good stuff. All right, and then the EX, obviously. Let's have a quick look at that new ego there, Pilgrim. That's all. I always press the wrong button. Heal self and 2 other allies with least HP percentage for 12.5% of this unit's max HP. That's pretty fucking good, actually. And is clearly focusing on envy. Bleed, curse nails. Unfortunately, Rhodio's not really part of my purple team, but I'll have to look into that, see if I can. Indiscriminately, but still heals other allies. Okay. When inflicting bleed or unique bleed against an enemy with base attack skills, inflict 1 defense level down once per turn if the target has bleed or unique bleed. These Hexnail egos definitely seem to lean more towards the N-Corp identities, like their skill sets. Curse and nails and bleed. But is there much... I'm going to switch it back because I don't want to ruin this team. Is there much in the way of envy in those teams? I assume there is, otherwise it wouldn't work. Yeah, well, Heathcliff's got it. Faust's got it. Both on skill 1, so plenty of envy. You could probably mix and match a bit, actually, because a lot of the purple team that I like, it applies bleed, you know, the Pecod members, and let's actually have a quick look. Yeah, and middle does a lot of bleed as well. Not tons of bleed, but it applies some bleed, so there's something to build off of. You can make something work there. Interesting. All right. Here's what we'll do, friends, because I fancy it. We'll do one more extraction for funsies. See if we can get Ishmael, that'll be fun. And then we'll end for the day. I'm not even spending any fucking lunacy anyway, so fuck it. Come on, baby, roll big. This has been a fun video. I enjoyed doing this a lot. It's been quite relaxed, but I really enjoyed just chatting about stuff, you know, mostly about the characters in Cantos, of course. And the mirror dungeon was just fun. I don't know. I like new mirror dungeons. And I like what they've done with it. It feels like they're constantly refining what it is. And I think they're doing a good job. I like it. Yeah. Lo and behold, nothing new. No one's shocked. Surely this is not a surprise. Come on. Fuck you. God damn it. That's what I get. That's what I deserve. All right, fair enough. Well, we're done here for today, friends. Thank you so much for watching. This is going to be a long video. About 4 hours of recording, but that's fine. I did say this was going to be a long one because we had a lot to do, and I'm fine with that. But like I said before on the New Year's video, planning to try and keep these videos shorter from now on. I say planning, obviously that's not going to work out a lot of the time because old habits die hard, right? I like making long videos, so limiting that goes against my inherent nature when it comes to recording videos and editing them, but I'm going to try. I'd like to live a little bit of a life outside of video making, although this is my main passion, of course, but it would be good to, I don't know, go outside and touch grass every now and then. I don't do that very often. Probably should. You know, get on the treadmill, do a little exercise. I'm still slim for now, but I'm starting to put on a few pounds. So I'd like to just keep myself trim if possible. But yeah, that's all irrelevant. Friends, thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to our members and patrons: Tony the Horse, Cryolytic, Abyssal Angie, Jordan Rothberg, Ninja Dog, Ember Fox, Grand Captain General Peace, Meanbag Turtle, Milligan Humor, Cuds, Kana Samaria, Poe, Porkchop Lebreck, Lifesteal, Mega Mr. Z-Man, Unclever Name, Summer Cat, Flanny, Pinch Dragoon, Latherhag Sire, Lipotatoes, Proxy, Caminera, Moa, Heartland, Harrick J, Dresso, Sion Distance, Lol, Etherbin, Linky, Xeon, Cedar, Bimblewort, Alkir, Honeydew, Sweet Baby Red, Jess Kitty, Plutonium Pie, Dreamago, Slept Lullaby, K-Bub, Magic Cow, The Frostbite, Monsoon, SCP-106A, Namad, and KinnyT800 for supporting me on Patreon and on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, this was a fun time. Looking forward to Wally Perk next week. I think it's next week. At time of recording, it's the 5th. I think it's coming out on the 9th, so technically next week. It's Sunday currently. So yeah, looking forward to that. If they're doing a little challenge thingy like they normally do, I might even dedicate the next video to seeing if we can actually kind of crush it. Like, I'm not particularly good at those challenge fights. I've never been good at them. But I'd like to see if I could perhaps really hit one and maybe get some rewards out of it. You know, get some of that cool stuff. I don't know. Hopefully we can get the new Wally Perg identity. Please don't tell me what the new identity is going to be. I don't want to hear it. And whatever happens next time, hope I see you there. Toodles. Goodbye.